You guys want to do Shadow Show?
No, not at all. No,
I think we're good.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go out, man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Whoa, you stumbled onto another Wild Billy Wednesday.
Hold on to your hats, partners. It's about to get wild.
Nothing wilder than not having Dan in on a Wild Billy Wednesday.
That's wild, man.
Be nice of him to show up to his own show once in a while.
Right?
Really
We're
would.
taking a step back.
Seriously.
Jeez.
What's going on there?
Yeah.
Someone needs to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, let's start a rumor.
Get Barrett Sports on it.
Or awful announcing. What are the two?
I don't know. They'll write an article.
They're on a
about
payroll, right? Like
Awful
Barrett?
announcing?
yeah,
or
no, awful announcing.
No, they're just media
Like,
watchdogs.
I have a theory.
What's the theory?
It's for off air.
Oh, come on.
Really?
Wild Billy Wednesday, already
come
too
on.
wild.
Wild Billy Wednesday.
Give us some hints, some notes. You don't have to say the whole thing, but just kind of like, what's the
you
theory around?
Maybe someone has a nom de plume.
I love this theory.
Nanda what?
I am Ben Axelrod.
Just a side. Maybe someone's running a side hustle with a
Come
nom
on.
de plume.
He's from Cleveland.
He can't be real, Ben.
I'm not mad at that. I want to explore that as the show goes on, but we got to start with, of course, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals yesterday. Is there a greater feeling in sports media than vindication? Than saying something and then having it for 2 quarters, be like, oh man, maybe I was wrong. And then the second half happens and you sit back and you're like, told y'all asses. Oh man, that was so fun watching. So fun watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just turn it on and just destroy the Wolves. And it's crazy because I'm in a group chat with my buddies and they were killing him. It was like, the guy's a foul baiter. He's not fun to watch. And every single shot he hit in that second half, like, was that not fun? Was that not fun? How much more fun can it get? And I'm wondering, is this an internet thing that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not a fun player to watch, or is this he plays in Oklahoma and ipso facto?
It's a combination of things, don't you think?
What do you think?
I think it has to do with him playing in Oklahoma.
Right.
I think he plays. It's kind of. He's a weird player in that the mid-range game is really, really good. He's not, hoisting 3 after 3 after 3 like Steph Curry is. So I think all of that factors in. His style of play and where he plays certainly factors in.
Well, this is his coming out party for me. If he gets to the fight, and OKC's a big favorite, right? Like the betting odds.
I mean, they should be.
Yeah,
Well,
and
yes, except yesterday's ESPN's analytics said the Wolves had a 70% chance of winning Game 1, which I have no idea where that math came from. But
Right.
But yes, the betting odds favor the
yeah,
Thunder.
and I'm coming around on. I've been sort of making fun of this Final Four because it lacks LeBron and Golden State and all that stuff, and Boston. But I'm sort of coming around on OKC and the Knicks as a pretty sexy championship round.
Doesn't this have to happen for us to grow, right? For the sport to grow,
Yes.
we have to have this where it's like, I don't know anybody. Well,
Yeah.
this is how you get to know new people, and so that we can continue to kind of grow with these people. That's what Anthony Edwards kind of started last year by going to the conference finals. Now this is his second conference final. Same thing for Tyrese Halliburton. They are now ascending to that place where they're going to become household names because of the success.
Yeah, and if you, not to look ahead, but if you get the championship matchup that I want, it's a great contrast. The storied Knicks, who haven't won in a half a century, against an OKC team that is super young and could be around for years. It's just like a great matchup.
So, I mean, you're saying the NBA, as fans, we need to turn the page on LeBron and Steph Curry and get used to SGA and Jalen Brunson, guys like that, Halliburton.
You guys remember, Greg and Stugotz, definitely, when Michael Jordan retired the second time, right, in 1998.
Yeah.
There was this whole well, it happened actually the first time too in '93. There was the search for who's going to carry the mantle. And in '94 it was like Grant Hill and a couple other guys, and we were left like so unfulfilled. And then Jordan comes back. It's like, oh, thank God, Jordan saved everything.
Shaq and Penny had a run.
They had a run, but but everyone was like, you're not Michael.
Right, but Shaq was like a larger-than-life character that did kind of take the mantle as far as, I mean, Jordan was a talisman of the league and stuff, but Shaq, in terms of being a larger-than-life personality, was transcendent.
He was, and looking back, of course he was. But I'm telling you, at the time, the whole vibe was we're unfulfilled by these people.
No, when Jordan came back, it was a lifeline.
It's like, oh, thank God. Like, we acted like there was nothing. There was just a black hole while he was gone.
Yeah, remember it well.
Right.
And so then he retires the second time, and that same thing. You had Kobe, you had Tracy McGrady, you had Shaq again.
Well, Jeremy was workshopping a take that this may be similar to that, and you may be going down that road. But there were some names that he invoked that I certainly saw similarities on mute last night.
When I'm watching Shea, I see aesthetically, I'm watching Kobe, I'm watching Dwayne Wade. I'm seeing a guy who splits double teams like no one can presently do in the league, that gets to the line. And there's this, I mean, you mentioned it, I mean, the internet sort of discourse around Shea's, foul merchant. I think that people don't understand the differences in how you can draw fouls and the ways you go about it. And I think James Harden did it in such a way that felt so, reckless, like it was cheating the game. He's hooking other guys' arms in, where what Shea does with his body control and his ability to draw fouls feels more like these throwback guards, like Dwayne Wade, except Dwayne Wade was 6'3". Shea is 6'6", and has an even better jumper. And so his ability to control the game from the line, I mean, you'll look back. I did it this morning, actually, and went back and looked at Dwayne Wade's playoff box scores, some of Kobe's playoff box scores. You're going to see a lot of box scores that look a lot like what you saw from Shea last night.
And I think the way
That's how you spent your morning?
It relaxes me. Numbers.
Sorry.
I mean, I was preparing for the show that we do for 4 hours. I feel like that was helpful. I added a note,
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah. I feel like you would do that if you didn't have a show to prepare for. I mean,
yeah, that's also true.
His hobby, crunching numbers.
That's just his Wednesday.
But it is the way he goes about it, right? Like it's stylistically, I think part of the reason people are feeling so weird about it is they're like, no one's used to watching a player like that in the modern game. I mean, last night, Minnesota took 30 more threes than Oklahoma City, and it's in large part because so much of the game was Shea driving, splitting double teams, and then throwing lobs to other guys because their body movement is unbelievable.
He reminds me a lot of Paul George, too, just a little bit quicker.
His trade partner.
Because he got traded for him?
Yeah. He probably doesn't like that comp because SGA is probably going to win an MVP here. But to your original point, that take sounds like it's emanating from people that don't necessarily watch, maybe lump themselves into casual observers. I know because I've probably had that take before about SGA, because OKC, ever since they moved from Seattle, I just don't care to watch this team. There's just something about the market. They never feel big time. But you can't watch last night's game, even if it was on mute, and not be really blown away by his style. If you're one of those bring back 90s basketball type of guys, well, it's right there. It's embodied in SGA. He's really fun to watch.
And to me, I think the aesthetic is that, first of all, you mentioned Kobe and Dwayne Wade, Jeremy. Those guys were explosive.
Right.
He's not.
He's way smoother.
He's it's all about going off rhythm.
That's right.
You're just left kind of.
There's two guys in this series that kind of bring back that 90s style. Ant is just way more explosive, which is also fun. There were guys in the 90s that really you couldn't trust their shot, but you can certainly trust their athleticism. He's like Sean Kemp on the perimeter.
Well, and Edwards has become such a three-point shooter.
I looked this up.
The Rain Man.
I know. I love how we can always count on Stugotz.
When I'm here. I mean,
well, wait, have you been missing time?
No, Dan has. I mean,
yeah. I looked up guys who led the league in free throws attempted per 100 possessions, right? All time. And first of all, the top 10, 9 of them are from the 60s, right? So that's not a modern thing. At 10, you get Joel Embiid from a couple of years ago. You get Harden from a couple of years ago. Embiid. And then you get back to Pettit and Robertson, Iverson, Malone, Mike and Malone, Dantley, World Be Free. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is outside the top 30. So it's like he's not egregious, and he's not flopping. He's getting fouled. And that's part of the game. Is like, can you guard me without grabbing me? And him moving in that way is a necessary element to that.
People think he's just falling down and drawing fouls when really, if you watch, he is maneuvering his body down low to the ground, keeping his balance and drawing contact in a way that's not hooking guys in. It's just simply being so athletic and so smooth that he can force people into making contact with him in a way that no one else in the league is capable of.
So you're saying that free throw, drawing a free throw, has become sort of a lost art that OKC is bringing back because the 3-ball killed the art of drawing a foul.
I wouldn't say it's a lost art that OKC is bringing back. I'm saying that people complaining about Gilgeous-Alexander doing it are being myopic because this isn't even amazing by historical standards.
Right.
He's one of the best in the league right now. Luka Doncic does it. Jalen Brunson does it. But like these guys are all doing it. There's, like, notice a trend here. These aren't guys who are like, he was so fast and explosive, I couldn't help but foul him to guard him. And I think that's part of it is people convince themselves that the type of players that are superstars, the type of players that are unstoppable, the type of players that draw a lot of fouls are jump out of the gym explosion like Michael Jordan. And then you see guys like Brunson and Doncic and Shea, and they don't move like that. They don't look like that. It's like, oh, you're just flopping, basically, is the thing, as opposed to, no, you can't guard me. That's what's happening.
Playoff Jimmy built his entire legend on
No
this.
doubt.
The
Yes.
whole thing was built on him getting to the free throw line over and over and over again, except it was, in his 30s, where Shea is doing it in a way that is smoother and while he's younger. And it to me, I don't know how you can watch the last few playoffs, celebrate what it is that Jimmy Butler did, and then not look at what Shea's doing and say, oh my God, he's even taking that to a different level.
I'll be curious to see if it is OKC New York, what the ratings will be, because you have this monster market in New York that'll draw the casuals. But guys that liked watching basketball in the 90s, they may be drawn to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but also the Knicks are a 90s-ass team. That from the style to the, like, Brunson's kind of like a modern-day Allen Iverson with the way that he plays bigger than he actually is. I'd be really curious to see how that rates. Naturally, we'll probably get Indiana, Minnesota with the league's luck. But
wow, not if the NBA has something to say about it.
The best possible thing for SGA if he gets to the finals is to go up against New York because that is the absolute launch
That makes
pad.
him a star. That makes him a star. From a rating standpoint, I think Wolves-Knicks is the best possible one because those are the two biggest markets. And also you have the storylines of these guys were traded for one another, right? But the Oklahoma City one is probably the best one for the long-term health of the league because you need to establish that Shea should be a household name beyond bad AT&T commercials. And then the absolute nightmare is probably Pacers versus Wolves or maybe even Pacers.
Pacers versus anyone.
Pacers. Yes. I think OKC needs the. I think OKC needs the Knicks. Minnesota. I mean, Anthony Edwards.
Everybody needs the Knicks.
Yeah, everybody needs the Knicks.
The
yeah,
Knicks.
but I do think that it would probably be OKC Indiana. That'd be the worst matchup.
If it's OKC and the Knicks and the Thunder win, doesn't SGA have a claim to the new face of the league?
It's a start. It's a start, but
it's a big start.
It's
right?
a big start. Yes, absolutely. I think.
Well, what if the Knicks win? Does Brunson get the same thing?
Look, there's a bunch of people in the group chat right now who are clamoring to say yes, Amit, say yes, say yes. You know it, say yes.
What I love about the Pacers-Knicks rivalry historically is the Knicks are always the villain anytime they match up against a team because they're from Gotham. But the Pacers historically have always leaned into wearing the black hat.
Yes.
In that series,
Knicks versus Knicks,
and doesn't matter how many years have passed, they're doing it again, and this is probably one of the more likable New York Knicks teams.
Yeah.
So it's that dynamic totally amplified.
Well, Tyrese Halliburton is the new Reggie Miller. He's the guy that is all right with you hating him, right? He wants to flaunt and taunt into your face.
It's just so odd. You have a middle American team, the birthplace of basketball, and when they go up against the New York Knicks, they're the villain.
Well, I want to talk about the Pacers and villainy for a second here. You guys talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I talked about it on Oddball, and I realized I don't think I was forceful enough on this. This Pacer fan who got hit with the trash.
Windhorst?
No. Brian didn't get hit, by the way. Did he? In the video, it looked like he did not get hit. No, I'm talking about this guy that we have on the screen right now. This guy who is going to Game 4 now because Tyrese is flying him out and all that. And everyone's like, oh, my God, these unruly Knicks fans. And, oh, it's so awful that happened to that guy who's just minding his business. And you know what? We don't condone violence. There is never an excuse to condone violence. Having said that, that dude knew exactly what he was doing.
Yep.
The Pacers didn't play that night. It was Knicks versus Celtics. You decided to put on a Pacers jersey and take a stroll. Big-ass New York City. Was he on the Upper East Side, Stugotz? Did he go down to Battery Park? Was he in Brooklyn? Right? Was he in the Astoria, Queens? Nope. I said, I'm going to take a walk at 10 p.m. in New York City by Madison Square Garden where I know the shenanigans is going down.
And so that justifies throwing garbage bags at him?
He got off easy.
Greg,
what
when you were growing up, what was the worst neighborhood? The worst neighborhood that in your area? They're like, oh, that's a rough neighborhood. Don't go around there.
I'm blessed to say I can't think of an example.
You can't think of any example from your life. You're 70 years old. And you
he lives in Plantation.
Right.
All right. Well.
See, I was a bad one to ask.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just figured that
charmed life.
That doesn't mean you lived there, but you knew of that neighborhood.
Of course.
That's a rough neighborhood.
No, I get that.
Okay.
I get it.
So, I'll give you an example. I grew up in New York, Queensbridge Projects. That's where Ron Artest is from, where Nas is from. All these people grew up there. It's the largest housing project in the world, right? It is a rough neighborhood. It would be tantamount to me going to Queensbridge, wearing jewelry, counting money, and then I got robbed. Like, oh my God, crime is so bad. Like, that we have to acknowledge this was not someone who was lost, a lost tourist. This was not someone who was just minding their business at their place of business.
Right.
Just strolled upon a Knicks celebration.
That dude went to Madison Square Garden.
Looking for it.
He went looking for it.
Looking for garbage.
I know, but he's not in the worst neighborhood imaginable.
It is when the Knicks win. It is when the Knicks win. They go to the conference finals.
Imagine if they lost. What kind of mood that'd be?
I've got a pretty brutal example of me doing this as a little kid and being a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, for my 10th birthday, took me to Fenway Park. But growing up, I also not only rooted for the Marlins, but I rooted for the Yankees because my dad is from Brooklyn and whatever. And so I went to Fenway Park for a game between the Red Sox and the Angels, and I wore an A-Rod Yankees jersey, and a guy threw a beer at me, and I deserved it.
You know how I feel sad?
Attaboy.
I feel sad because you were
waste of
10
a
years
beer.
old in that story.
Yep.
Jesus. An A-Rod Yankees jersey.
2005.
He was 10 years old.
Did you say that was a waste of a beer?
I'm telling you, seriously. What are you going to throw a beer for? It's like liquid gold.
It's a great point.
At a
It's
10
so expensive.
At a 10-year-old.
I deserved it.
Did you catch it and drink it at 10 or no?
No, I wasn't that skilled.
Okay.
Meanwhile, on the complete opposite side, somebody wore a Brad Marchand Panthers jersey to Game 7 of the game versus the Maple Leafs. There was just chirps.
But you know what, Roy? It's understandable. Hey, it's a game between these two teams. Sure, this guy he's rooting for that. It's a great experience. I would love to go to a Game 7 on the road to root for my favorite team. What's not understandable is someone showing up for a team that it's not even here.
Right.
Like, he knew what he was doing. That's like, it's not an accident, and it's not an innocent bystander. Like, again, we don't condone violence. But he's not innocent in this. He went to go instigate. It's no different from like people that would go to like women's rights marches and be like, go back to the kitchen. Like, yeah, someone's going to like haul off and smack you at some point if you're being disrespectful in that way because you knew what this was about. No, I'm gonna buy myself.
I agree with you completely.
I just think
protesters.
I think it crosses a line when you throw garbage.
No, it
Yeah,
does.
it
But
does.
Where is the
assault.
line? Just out of curiosity,
I
like
think-
what's
It's a good
acceptable
question.
to
Okay,
throw?
I'll tell you exactly, Wild Billy. The line is, if you're a Knicks fan that night, speak your whatever you have emotionally. We're going to kick your ass in the next round. Whatever. Why the hell are you here? Whatever. But to pick up a garbage bag and hit the guy in the head with it, to me, crosses a line of civility.
Again, we don't condone violence. You're right. They should not have been violent. But my point is, they didn't go knocking on doors. Are you a Pacer fan? Hey, man, here's some trash. They didn't do that. He went to them.
He was
went
asking
to
for
them.
it.
They weren't looking for him. He was looking for them.
He's looking for them.
That's
He was
fair.
looking for garbage.
I agree with
Yeah.
that, right? But he deserved to have garbage thrown at him. That's all I'm at.
And then the next level of that is we should not be rewarding these people. We should not be rewarding these people. Here's a trip to Indiana and tickets to the game. Absolutely not. Because all it is it's going to like continue this cry for attention.
It sounds kind of like you're
Agreed.
taking all the blame away from the people that threw trash at the
No,
guy.
I said we don't condone violence. I started with that.
But he was look at what he was wearing. He was asking for
He
it.
went down there.
That's very dangerous.
He went down there.
I mean, Billy, he did walk into the middle of a Knicks celebration wearing a Pacers jersey who weren't playing in that series. I mean,
What if they threw pillows at him? Would that be okay?
So I think I was thinking about this
Wild
because
Billy Wednesday.
if you want something thrown at you, a bag of garbage seems like a good option. It's soft.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, what if there's like
I mean, it's
what-
gross, but it's not
If,
damaging.
if it's got the juice in it.
or like a can lid or
Good point.
Yeah.
needles
Like the Bash Brothers.
Could have dead animals.
you
in
got
it.
people throwing away needles.
Rats.
Maybe.
Big
I
rats.
mean, I don't
Have you been to New
Subway
York?
rats.
Maybe people were sewing. Who knows?
They're reusing those needles over and over again.
Oh, okay. Very good. By the way, we haven't celebrated Greg yet. Yesterday, Greg made a report on this show that ended up coming true. Really? So there's a lot of things
What
in
happened?
bragging about reporting. Yesterday, Greg exclusively on this show reported that the sun would come up today.
Yeah.
And it very
Good job.
much came up today.
go.
Thank
So-
you. No, I appreciate
job.
that.
Good job.
Yeah, I wanted to one up Zaslow,
Journalism.
who reported that that the Heat might be interested in Giannis. So that was such an outstanding report by him that I wanted to one up him.
Well, it was a little bit bolder than most people assume because there were peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, and that went sideways.
That's a fair comment by you. I appreciate that political analysis.
Every day isn't guaranteed, folks.
That's true. That's fair.
But today happened.
Yeah, making my prediction all the
sun
more
came up.
remarkable.
Yeah. If it were guaranteed, then we would be impressed by Greg's
Exactly.
prediction.
Have I predicted that there's going to be sunrise tomorrow?
Not yet.
I'm not prepared to say that.
Not yet.
Still confirming?
I'm still. My sources are supposed to call me back.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, I said, looking at my watch, it doesn't exist.
That was a very noble attempt, Roy, to get the conversation going to Panthers. I
Thank you, Mike.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you,
Oh,
Mike.
did something happen with the Panthers last night?
Not really. Just, what many people thought.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Once upon a time, I believe, not too long ago, you said something like, that's why blowouts don't happen in hockey. And by my count, 3 out of the last 4 Panther games have been blowouts. What happened to the pride of they're hockey players. They fight hard. They'll never get blown out because they care more.
I don't know what you're doing. You're
Well,
you're just isolating
no?
a very small sample. I mean, if
3
you
out of the
want
last 4 games is like a pretty big sample.
All right. Well, are you cherry picking the series that went 7?
No.
It's
No.
It's
We were-
very interesting.
we were talking
It's a weird hill to die on.
It's a hill to die on. Shout out to Jamel Hill because this is what you said after Game 7 of Nuggets Clippers, which was a blowout. And you said,
Yeah.
see, that never happens with hockey. Mm-hmm. And now it's
I mean,
not-
it rarely ever does.
Well,
that's the thing.
3 out of
Yeah.
the last 4 Panthers games have been blowouts.
Are you talking about Game 7s or?
I'm talking about 3 out of the last 4 Panther hockey playoff games.
Yeah, the ones on the road. Yeah,
Playoff
it's-
games have been blowouts.
The Panthers are a wagon.
Well-
The Panthers are a wagon, and Carolina is gonna struggle this series because they can't score goals. They've been struggling to score goals. Quite honestly, for years, they tried to address it with Mikko Rantanen. Mikko got there for 11 games, said, I don't want to stay here, gets traded to Dallas and carries them to the Western Conference Finals. Carolina, that was a very odd game because Florida did not play very well in that game. Carolina, a tougher team, but really amplified the shenanigans, I thought, and going after Bobrovsky, every play going out of their way to put an elbow on Bobrovsky. Probably shook him up a little bit. I know Chris Nowinski's already alleging assault on Twitter. Yeah. when it came to one of those Bob altercations. What Ghost does to Marchand is just hit a slap shot right at Marchand in the middle of the ice. That's probably going to get reviewed. But I think you see a Carolina team that is very limited. They know it. They're trying to turn to the dark arts to see if they can do this to the Florida Panthers, and that's a bad team to turn to the dark arts to because they have perfected the dark arts. So the more you do that, the more you play into Florida's game. And I just thought that was the game that Carolina needed to get. This could get ugly quick, and this could be one of those ugly series that you point to unless Carolina finds something, some inspiration offensively. They didn't score a single goal with their sticks. Both the goals got kicked in. One was a power play goal that ricocheted, and the first one shouldn't have been allowed flatly.
Do it with a stick.
Aho even looked back at it. That was so weird.
Yeah, I thought Maurice should have protested that.
I mean, I thought Paul kind of knew the vibe of the game, didn't want to risk starting the next period off with a power play and really get that barn into the game. Once you're up with a goal headed into the second period, you're already playing Panther hockey. So I get why he didn't do it because Florida was really controlling that game and that was a bit of a fluky goal. But Carolina's got some big-time issues, and if they don't change things, Brendan Moore's going to learn exactly what a sweep looks like.
And by the way, Carolina has lost 13 conference finals games in a row, dating back years and years, including the sweep by Florida 2 years ago.
No sweep. They didn't get swept.
Oh, yeah, right.
Brenda
Moore. Come on now.
Moore,
yeah. Jesus.
Juju, please put it on the poll. Guy who calls an arena a barn. Douche? Question mark?
No douche.
That's a hockey thing, man.
You guys mentioned Paul Maurice. Did he say after the game, after a 5-2 win on the road in the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals, I didn't love our game tonight?
Yes, he
did.
did.
That is badass.
And he's right. He's absolutely right.
Florida played like crap, which is why Carolina's in real bad shape in this series because Florida doesn't have to play their best game. They were playing the game that Carolina wanted to play. Limited chances, shaky goaltending from Carolina, which has been questioned, even though Anderson's been good. But I'd said this on other podcast appearances. The playoffs have been a flat track for Carolina. They got New Jersey and they got Washington, two teams that don't necessarily play this aggressive playoff style.
And New Jersey's been hurt.
Yeah, and Florida's been in the deep end of the pool for a month and a half. And they're still riding it. And I know Russ versus Russ is a discussion, but they were a day and a half removed from a Game 7. They've been playing intense hockey for a while now, and Carolina is just kind of just lollygagging their way around through a very flat track, and they learned yesterday that you have to take it up to another level, and they overcompensated. They were forcing things, they were faking things, they put themselves in trouble with penalties, and it's only going to get worse because now the refs are going to be looking for some of the stuff they did because they got away with a lot last night.
I don't think they have that other level, do they, offensively?
Offensively, Jarvis is a good player. He's probably the forward that I fear the most over there. Aho has this tendency to really disappear. I mean, really disappear. And where Toronto found success in the series against Florida was screening Bob, getting in front there. And Mikkola just decided midway through that Toronto series he wasn't going to let that happen anymore. And if there was a player to watch last night, it would be Mikkola in front of Sergei Bobrovsky's net, having absolute jousting matches with every forward that was sent his way.
Horses and everything.
It was crazy. There was just unmitigated violence in front of Sergei Bobrovsky's net, and Mikkola answered the bell.
The other thing about Mikkola is him joining on that rush on that A.J. Greer goal. That was amazing. Seeing that big man over here creating – it was a 3-on-2. It ended up being a 2-on-1 at the blue line. He was a playmaker on that play.
Ghost is going to get his block knocked off, no doubt, because what he did there with that slapper on Marchand, and look, I thought the refs got it right in terms of kicking Marchand out of that game. You got to get that guy out of there any chance you have. But that was a hugely dangerous play. No, it's flat out. Like, Brad Marchand could have been seriously injured. He slapped a shot 3 feet away from him at center ice, hit his upper body. That player safety has to get involved here. Otherwise, the Panthers have already alluded to it, they'll take justice into their own hands.
Yeah, I didn't get the logic of the penalty situation.
That's
there.
playoff hockey.
That's Stugotz' music right there.
Like, that should have been unsportsmanlike conduct for the firing that puck at Marchand. He only got a roughing penalty, gosh to spare, on that situation. Well, two separate roughing penalties and the 10-minute misconduct, which drew Marchand out of the game. It didn't make any sense to me.
Marchand kind of went in, sticks high. It was kind of reckless, but you can understand it because Brad's like, are you trying to kill me here? What is the point of this? It was a very dangerous play.
I think the Panthers team that won the championship last year is better right now. And we saw it again last night with Greer and some others.
Hold on.
You're saying this team is better than the team that won the championship?
Okay.
Yes.
You said the opposite. I think this team is deeper. to be determined if they're better. I think defensively they were a little bit more stout last year, particularly along the blue line. But in terms of talent, dating back to the President's Trophy team, I think this is the deepest Florida Panther team that we've seen in some time. Like the Marchand thing, as many people took it as like an insult, I'm saying Florida's got so many great wingers. Look at who the leader in playoff points on 5-on-5 hockey is. It's
Luostarinen.
Right.
They have Gadjevich answers a bell. When Boldest is in there, he's
swear
scoring.
to God, he's just making up names right now.
No, Mackey.
Roy was showing off.
We haven't even seen Mackey really at all in these playoffs, and I think he's probably one of the more talented players on the puck for Florida. So it's an embarrassment of riches for Florida, and this is a really difficult matchup for Carolina.
And Florida's had 17 different players score goals in the postseason, 7 different defensemen. Their goals come from everywhere. Marchand's line has been the best line in the playoffs for the Panthers. The fourth line is scoring.
Well, I suspect Mike has some issues with the.
No. I
now
think,
you converted?
No. I've always been saying it. I think that's part of why Marchand kind of turned it around. Once he got put on that line has been a spark plug. It's been very consistent throughout the 3 years of this run for Florida. You could always count on Lundell and Luostarinen. And now Luostarinen has taken it up a notch. He's made himself a lot of money. Hell, if they make it to the final, Luostarinen has an argument to be Conn Smythe, which is insane. If we're drafting Finnish players in this series, I might take Aho last because of how little he shows up in these big moments. That is crazy stuff.
He's finished.
Yeah, secondary scoring has been gigantic for the Florida Panthers, and has proven through how deep this team is. Thomas Nosek, who's on the fourth line, had to go up to the third line because Marchand was thrown out of the game because of that misconduct. He got the assist on the Luostarinen goal. Like, they didn't miss a beat.
Everybody is scoring. Their goon lines are scoring. And they have really talented wingers that aren't even dressing for this team right now that are going to make a lot of money whenever they come up in the open market. Boldest might make some money if he's a free agent. I know Mackey's probably going to get some offers. He's got a brilliant future. Florida has got a lot of depth. We'll find out if they're better, especially if they play Edmonton, because Edmonton looks to be a bit of a wagon. If you're a Panther fan like I am, I'm rooting for Dallas in that series because I think it's Edmonton's time.
Juju put it on the poll, does not liking a 5-2 win make you a badass? And also, can you use the word unmitigated without the word gall? Because Mike said it was unmitigated violence, and I said, well, there's got to be gall in there
Unmitigated
somehow.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, disaster.
That's a metal sand. That's silver metal.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Gall, disaster, and then violence, I guess?
Yeah, that's metal sand.
Yeah.
We
but Gall leads, to your point. Gall leads the unmitigated conversation.
By the way, 2 power play goals for the Panthers. I don't expect that to happen again against the league's best penalty kill, so good job by them.
It's really interesting throughout this Panther run. They did it as an 8 seed that was lucky to get in the playoffs. Then they did it as a team that had home ice throughout the playoffs. And now there are these road warriors that's not going to have a single home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. And it doesn't matter. They almost prefer to be on the road. It is a joy to support this team. They're converting a lot of people that were casual observers because of their playoff style that they embody during the regular season. Blessed to have this run over here. Carolina's in deep shit.
Yeah, 6-2 on the road, Florida. That's damn good. 6-2 on the road.
I met a white Rodney yesterday.
What?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're lying.
I'm dead serious. Because I travel a lot, I have this like level of status where sometimes they will pick me up in the cart to take me to the gate.
Sure.
So the guy texts me and he says, "Hey, I'm here." So I'm still going through security, and he signed it, Rodney. And so when I got through security, I'm looking for a black guy, and it was a white guy on the cart. He's like, I said, "Rodney?" And he's like, "Yeah, how's it going, Mr. Hassan?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it's the whole time, he's driving the cart, and I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh, white Rodney."
Huh.
Did you ask his last name?
No, I was
Oh,
terrified.
that's a major mistake.
What would the last name that would justify that be? Jenkins?
Something with a Steen at the end of it, probably.
Is Rodney
no, but I'm just trying to think of something that somehow gets you closer.
Are you
to
sure
where
it
you're
wasn't
supposed to
Rod? I mean,
He said Rodney.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Rodney.
Well, what would Rod be short for?
Roderick.
I know a Rod.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What about Rod Thorne?
Rod Thorne. Was
Yeah.
he a Rodney? He
But
was.
here's a Rodney. Rodney
Rod
King
Thorne. Yeah.
Thorne.
Rod Brindamar.
His name was Rodney King?
Rodney, his middle name is King Thorne.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Did you know that Rod Thorne's middle name was King? Rodney King Thorne.
Rod Brendamore is a Roderick, not
Roderick,
a Rodney.
yeah.
But I feel like all of the white Rodneys call themselves Rod.
Maybe, yeah, but like it just they're not making white Rodneys anymore, are they?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield is a good one. That's right.
Rodney Stewart.
I got to tell you, is Rod Stewart a Rodney?
He should.
Wild Billy Wednesday.
Yeah.
Put that in the Sueys. Great limited fake Rod Stewart.
He's not Rodney. He's Sir Roderick David Stewart. CBE.
Yeah, get that right.
Not to be confused with OBE.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
Amici. That's the
Amici has OBE. Does that mean it's the
One makes you a consultant.
Wild Billy Wednesday.
Wild Billy Wednesday.
So you took last night as total confirmation that this is going to be relatively easy for OKC. I imagine Ant, even though he returned, turning that ankle doesn't help matters for Minnesota. Is this going to be a boring one?
No, I don't. I don't. Look, it's game one, and if you're Minnesota, Chris Finch tells them, "Hey guys, they did what they were supposed to. Like, we come back, we win game two, and we got what we came for." And so it's not. I don't think it's a confirmation at all, especially because we do know Oklahoma City has certain things that they don't like. They clearly don't like when a zone is played, and Jalen Williams still up and down, not really the kind of forceful game.
How
we
does
want to see him
Gobert
offensively.
fit in the zone? Perfectly?
I mean, he did perfectly. Yeah, sure. I think
He was pretty effective.
He was
Only 21 minutes. I was kind of confused
because
by his
offensively
lack of
he
play.
was
awful.
He was
but
awful. That's
his impact on the game was paramount though when he was out there.
Yeah, but like it's tough when you're playing 4-on-5 against that defense in particular. And it's funny because Mike, the way you were describing the Panthers is kind of like the Thunder. I was explaining this to my friend yesterday, and I was like, you talk about two-way players. Everyone likes, it's a great compliment. Oh, he's a guy who plays defense and offense. Like their whole roster is two-way players. Everyone on their roster defends. Everyone on their roster is an offensive threat. And when you got it like that, it's hard to find flaws consistently. But I don't know.
It's almost like that team had 1 million lottery picks over the last 8 years.
Rod Laver.
You're right.
Calling all hoopers, calling all between the leg dribblers, calling all behind the back passers, calling all bench warmers. Guess what time it is? It's playoff o'clock. And since I love to give gifts, I'm bringing you post-game lives. That's right, I'm going live after every Eastern Conference game. And since we're going live, you got to know I got to bring my crew. Trista Crick, Zach Harper, Josh Smith, Kofi Yaboa, Amin El Hassan, Israel Gutierrez, Tony Calatayud, Oprah Winfrey, maybe even Senor Daniel Le Batard. Join us to talk smack or celebrate with us every single night right here on the DLS YouTube channel, baby. YouTube, you see us.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We welcome in David Sampson. Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast. You catch it wherever you get podcasts. David, we were musing that the existence of the white Rodney is rather rare. I met one in the wild yesterday. But as we've been in the break, we started all
He
these
picked you up at the airport, man.
Yeah.
Not in the
Rodney.
wild.
Well, I mean, it's a wild, I just ran into a Rodney. I wasn't searching for one. But Stugotz has provided me with two in the break. Which one's Stugotz?
Oh, Rod Laver.
Rod Laver's a Rodney.
Yeah. Who was the other one?
Rod Carew.
Oh, Rod Carew.
Rodney Carew.
Yes.
David Sampson.
Jewish.
Yes.
Well, and then
I found Rod Morgenstein. Here we are.
Nice.
Finally, a Steen or a Stein.
David, do you have any other white Rodneys to add to the proceedings?
No, because I can't get past Tidwell.
Rod Tidwell. He's
that's
not
it.
white.
Like you say, Rod. That's the only place I go. I go right to Gooding Jr. I go right to Jerry Maguire. I couldn't think of Rod Laver. I couldn't think of Rodney Mott. Maybe an NBA referee.
Yes, Rodney Mott is an NBA referee. Rodney Mott is also black, though.
But Rod Carew is.
Rod Carew's black?
Yes.
I thought you said Jewish.
No, he converted to Judaism.
He's black and he's Jewish. Yes.
You can be
Wow.
both.
Yeah, you can be
Did
both.
you make Rod Carew white?
I did.
Stugotz, I think
Unbelievable.
we have to stop for a minute because Amin just actually thought that there's only white Jews.
No,
number one.
I didn't think that. But if you tell me there's a Jewish
Jesus
baseball
was
player-
Jewish.
Yes, Jesus was Jewish.
He's going to picture David Eckstein if you say there's a Jewish
A
baseball
Jewish
player,
baseball
all right?
player, or like Sandy Koufax or whatever. Like it's like you don't think about people converting as much. Obviously, there are a lot of Ethiopian Jews, right, who are all black. So I know the existence of black Jews. There are also the people on 42nd Street, the Lost Tribes of Israel. They're Israelites of some sort.
Man, we used to do the show out
Wait
of
a
Miami
minute.
Gardens.
They used to be there?
They were out there.
Oh, man. I love the hype man guy. He's got the easiest job because the one guy will say, the Bible says, he said, and the Bible be saying. I'm like, that's your whole job just to repeat what he said?
I honestly had no idea about them until I was driving into work one day. I'm like, what's going on here with all these costumes?
Oh, man. It's like they're dressed like it's like the crusade.
Interesting note on Carew. There's no evidence that he ever actually formally converted to Judaism himself, but he wore a high necklace while he was playing, and all of his daughters ultimately were bat mitzvahed.
But definitely black.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. How about that? Put that in the suies. Wait, put that on the poll. Did you know that Rod Carew is black?
Everyone knows.
Everybody knows that, I mean.
100-0.
This is I'm gonna tell
In
you.
the poll.
I'm gonna tell you what it's like. It's exactly like when they told me when Bryce Harper was either a rookie or a second year. He was in the home run derby, and they said Bryce Harper's dad is pitching to him. His dad, Ron Harper, and I was like, huh. I didn't know Bryce Harper was black.
Ronald Harper.
No, they said Ron Harper. So I'm like, oh, and so for a couple of years, I was like, yeah, man, I didn't know because I didn't know what Bryce Harper looked like.
What jeans?
So then they were like, no, Bryce Harper's not black. I'm like, well, his dad's Ron Harper, right? And it's no, his dad is named Ron Harper, but it's not that Ron Harper. I'm like, bullshit. You don't get to call yourself Ron Harper then.
Were you listening to the Home Run Derby like on the radio or something?
It was on Sports Center in the background. I was doing Sports Center that day. I wasn't paying attention. You know, I don't watch this shit.
You sure weren't.
But the point is, the idea that like someone can walk around. First of all, we need to know what Bryce Harper's dad's name is. We don't. We really don't. Did his dad play anything? No? Okay. Don't need to know his name. Second of all, if his name is Ron Harper, guess what? It's no longer Ron Harper. It's Ronald Harper.
Wow. So there can't be an actor named Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, not Michael Jordan. You can be Ronald B. Harper, Ron B. Harper,
okay.
but you can't be Ron Harper.
That's fair.
That's I'll
Ron
put my
F.
foot down on
Harper or something.
Ron F. Harper. Please say the F.
No one who is a fan of Bryce Harper is aware of couldn't pick Ron Harper out of a crowded room.
He looks like him though, right? It's his dad.
Which Ron Harper?
Yeah, which Ron Harper are we talking about? That's
The
a good
basketball player.
Oh,
he's tall.
No, everyone knows
A
Ron
very
Harper.
tall point guard for his day.
Yeah. We know Ron Harper but if you talk to baseball fans who are watching Bryce Harper, my guess is they're not solely focused on Ron Harper. You're forgetting, when was the last time Ron Harper got into uniform?
Which
I may
Ron
be having
Harper?
some timing issues, but I'm thinking, 2002?
For when the last time Ron Harper was a name?
No, when did he last play?
2001.
He's old.
He was an assistant coach for the Pistons 2005 to 2007.
He's 61.
Nope. No one knows who that is.
Oh.
Put it on the poll. Do you know who Ron Harper is?
Also, put it on the poll. Can you follow more than one sport? is this weird take.
Ron Harper won 5 NBA titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many has Bryce Harper won?
He's a 2-time MAC Player of the Year. I mean,
How
come on.
many-
1985? Jeez.
How many Player of the Year awards has Bryce Harper had? Yeah.
Well, he was an MVP. So.
Well, okay, that's one.
That's
2 to
kind
1.
of a Player of the
2 to
Year.
1.
What do you mean?
2 to 1.
Well, he also jumped straight from high school to the pros.
He's an 8-time All-Star.
His dad was actually a bit of a higher profile because of the prodigious nature of Bryce Harper's, career.
Let's be honest. Ron didn't win a thing.
Well,
I mean, Michael won him 5 championships.
Hold on.
Come on.
Hold on.
5
First of all, he won 5 things. 3
Well,
of
he didn't really
And
win
he didn't
them,
win
though.
them. He didn't win them all with Michael.
He had 2 with the Lakers.
Bryce was a 2-time
Handed a
MVP,
ring,
by the way. So 2-time Player of the Year, technically.
And if you really want to play this game, Ron Harper's son, Dylan Harper, going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. I'm saying it right now. Going to be better than Bryce Harper. This Ron Harper's son will be better than that Ron Harper's son. How about that?
That is a take.
That's ridiculous.
We're going to put seed versus seed.
Bryce is really actually fulfilled.
One of the
Ron.
greatest players of his generation.
Okay. And what
David,
do you think Dylan Harper is?
I mean, wasn't Bryce Harper on the cover of SI while he was in high school still? Bryce Harper has lived up to the expectations, yes?
He's LeBron James, basically. But here's something that Ron Harper did for Bryce Harper.
Which Ron Harper?
With the other Ron Harper.
Got it.
The one who's not
Ronald
the
B.
NBA
Harper.
player.
Yeah.
Had him go to a college which basically skirted the draft rules and made him eligible to be drafted and get a huge bonus from the Nationals when they had back-to-back 1-1s. They had Strasburg, who ended up being a World Series MVP, and Bryce Harper. And it became they closed some loops because of Ron Harper. So there was, if you go back and read about Bryce, and many people don't focus on this, he was able to get himself out of school into a different type of school, which enabled him to then be draft eligible.
You know who didn't have to do that? The other Ron Harper.
It's
Ron
crazy
Harper.
because Bryce Harper, as a kid, like when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 2009 as the chosen one, like LeBron, remember, he was going to be a catcher. He was drafted as a catcher. If they would have, obviously, the right decision to not let him be a catcher long term, he's going to have a much longer career because of it. He probably would have gotten banged up. But if he had had even a 5-year run as a catcher with the type of hitter he is, we would have been talking about him and his peak as like one of the greatest peaks in the history of baseball.
Respectfully, that's not interesting.
That's
cold, man.
That's Joe Mauer.
Oh,
Yes.
hold on a second.
Right.
Bryce Harper, way better hitter than Joe Mauer.
No doubt.
And Joe Mauer's all-time
You're
great as a catcher. But Bryce Harper and the power speed combination. I mean, David.
You're forgetting how good Joe Mauer was,
He was
for
okay.
a big number of years. Now, I understand that there's a hot take but Stugotz take that Joe Mauer is not HOF worthy, but
I said first ballot worthy.
First
That's all I
ballot
said.
worthy.
Yes.
he's really good.
I don't want to be the one to shit on Joe Mauer here. I think Joe Mauer is
Sounds
like
like you
an
are.
unbelievable hitter. I was the only one to defend Joe Mauer
You're
when Stu got
volunteering
started
this,
there.
though.
Yeah.
I am volunteering
You're
it.
like the Pacer
Bryce
fan.
Harper would have been better. Is it crazy to say that Bryce Harper at the catcher position is the type of hitter he? I don't even know why we're in this conversation. This is my own fault.
I
mean, but like everyone thought Buster Posey was going to be great, and he was kind of.
It was pretty great.
Didn't Harper leave the Nationals and they won the World Series the next year?
Buster
Yeah.
Posey
Yes.
ruined baseball. If I'm going to
Why?
be perfectly honest, with
because
you.
of the.
Buster Posey ruined baseball because he couldn't take a hit from Scott Cousins, and that's a fact, Jack.
I had a feeling you'd invoke Scott Cousins there. FSU, good at churning out catchers.
So if we're keeping track at home, Ron Harper adds championships to his teams. Bryce Harper, not so much. It kind of negates it. He goes away, they start winning. That's not a good look.
I have a question.
Plus minus.
I have a question that'll kind of switch gears a little bit. It was yesterday's topic du jour, but I'm curious to get your perspective because the WNBA is in a curious position when it comes to this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing because it is good for business. It is getting people. My dad was FaceTiming me yesterday, and he was talking to me about the Angel Reese segment that Stu and Dan had. This is the storyline in the league. And anyone that tries to convince themselves otherwise isn't necessarily in tune with what's going on. Now, it may be a discourse that they're not a fan of. It may be a discourse that they're openly against, and I understand that. Juju spoke to it yesterday. But this is the discourse that is going to be paying the bills. This is the discourse that is going to be getting eyes to that league whenever Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark play. So how does the league navigate this?
Yeah, I do not believe this is the discourse that pays the bills. This is the heroin discourse to me. And I don't mean
heroin with a E?
females.
Okay.
I mean the drug.
No E. Okay.
Oh.
This feels really good, I've heard, right when you do it, and then all of a sudden it's really bad.
Chasing the dragon.
Yeah.
So this is a way to try to jumpstart something to achieve a value that you believe you deserve to have, will have, could have, and this is the shortcut to it. The problem is when you're building up franchise valuations or building up sponsor relationships, as you head into a collective bargaining negotiation where the players say they could walk out, they want to be treated like Unrivaled treated them, and they view this as the cotton candy. Look at all the ratings. Look at what we're getting. Look at this rivalry. It's total poppycock. The people who pay the bills do not want this narrative. They do not want to pay for this narrative. They don't want any part of it. Why? Because Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, if you're going to do it, you do it on the court.
Do it in the playoffs.
You are not in the position as a league right now to have this as your revenue driver.
Brown sugar. Here's the thing. For years, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm just saying for years, people have complained that the establishment doesn't pay attention to women's sports. And now it is, and it's doing it in a ham-handed, contrived, lazy sort of way, which, by the way, is how we do every goddamn sport.
I mean, this is my point. This is equality.
This is equality.
You have, like, the annoying topic. Welcome to Tim Tebow world, and should Dak Prescott get an extension? Like, this is you guys making it.
Yes.
This is
the
what you've always
land.
wanted.
This is what it is. Did you think it was a hollow cathedral where we're actually doing real analysis?
We're talking
here?
about tush pushes for, like, 4 weeks straight.
We just did 10 minutes on Bryce Harper versus Ron Harper.
When
Which,
we
by the
talk
way, I've never
about
been
you
more
in a
right
way
about.
that's lazy without information, you have made it. You
That's
are right.
it.
Yes.
This is a
But they're not
congratulations.
Cover
ready.
football. I mean,
What's that, David?
I'm sorry, they're not ready for this discourse. You're wanting to put the WNBA in this place where it would be part of the cathedral of topics that we would discuss in the media and the sort of insane way that we would look at things. That is a mature league that gets those discussions. And I want to point this out on the business side. There's a big difference when you talk about leagues that have established media rights deals, that have established billion-dollar valuations, versus when you talk about startup leagues or fledgling leagues. In order for a fledgling league, which is what the WNBA is, please do not make a mistake. This league is supported by the NBA and the owners. These teams lose money. Their values have not gone up in any measurable way. Hard stop. The broadcast deals were handed to them. And now the players believe that because of all of this attention that they're getting off the court and the numbers that have been good on the court, I grant you, yes, they outdrew the Yankees-Mets Subway Series game on ESPN. I get you, but you're missing foundation. And so the analogy I would give you is that when you build a building and you forget the rebar, you may get to take the elevator one time before it comes crumbling down. The better way to do it is you build with rebar and you build it appropriately and you build it over time and then it becomes strong and valuable. Then we get to do all the lazy takes and all the talks that we talk about off the court, rivalries, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not yet.
David, I'm wondering your thoughts here about flag football being an Olympic sport. If you were an NFL owner, would you want one of your players playing in the Olympics, playing flag football in the Olympics?
No chance.
Right.
This was an interesting vote here, Stugotz. What I thought happened here is the NFL gets its cake and they get to eat it too. They get to announce a unanimous approval for NFL players to play in the Olympics. They get to not go sideways against Washington, where the current president is very pro-patriotism, who's not, very pro-Olympics as though we're back in the Cold War. Hey, we're going to let our best players out here, win as many gold medals as possible. It's in LA, we're home, we've got to win. But what's happening on the side is that what the NFL owners are saying, we're giving this to the players. We're saying, good, you can play. For all of you who've spoken up and said, oh, we'd be interested, we want our chance at gold. But here's what we want in return. We want 18 weeks. We want an international game every single weekend. And when we start negotiating our next CBA, this is the trade. You want us to give you permission and fully ensure the fact that you can play. It won't count against the cap. If you get hurt, fine. But guess what? We want something in return. That's how these negotiations work.
David, I'm curious if you know the answer to this. How much money is in the international games for the NFL? Because it's not a separate TV package. Maybe that's the end game spends. But is this just a ticket sales revenue type of play? Why is the league, according to you, going to be forcing this issue? We want an international game. Is that just it serves a greater good if we spread the game around that'll ultimately help the bottom dollar? Or is there a legit current business to this model?
Yeah, what do you do when you rule everything that you see? What do you think you do
try
when
to
you rule?
See more.
You try to see more. You go up a little higher to see if you can see more. That's what the NFL is doing. That's what MLB and the NBA are all trying to find ways to get out of the American market, to get whether it's promotion money, which you get because they're promoters who actually pay to host games, and then you get extra merch, extra tickets. There are extra TV deals that are done internationally. And with streamers, you only get different markets. You don't get the world. You have to pay for different parts of the world. But the NFL, they want to conquer new frontiers. It's the oldest form of capitalism in the world. The more you have, the more you want. And the more you get, the more you strive to get more. And that's what the NFL is doing. And they've been pretty overt about this, and God bless them.
Well, I just assume that it's actually a presently a booming business for them, because we're not early into this European expansion project for the NFL. It's going on what, 15? We're close to 20 years on them dabbling in trying to increase that market. They keep doing it. They keep increasing the numbers. So I imagine there's a lot of money in these international games presently. It's not just serving the greater good.
There is not. There's actually not. MLB does not make a ton of money on its international games. Neither does the NBA. You're paying the players more. The expenses are more. But what it is, you always want the illusion. If you're starting a business and you've got one store, one point of sale, but then you can say that, oh, we opened a second store or a third store, you're not telling people what your revenue is per store. When you're first starting your business, you're just giving the illusion that there's growth, that it's cool, it's exciting, it's an upward trajectory. The NFL's been doing this for a super long time, and they're going to keep going, but you're seeing incremental changes. I can't remember the year, you guys will know. There used to be one international game.
Yeah.
And now it feels like, what did they announce this year? 6 or 7, including Ireland and Germany.
Madrid.
Believe me, in the next 3 years, it will be more than double-digit international games, more and more countries hosting, because it's the old story. You always want more than you have, even if it's only a small increment.
David, when, if ever, do you think the NFL takes the next huge step, which is a team based internationally or a Super Bowl that isn't in the United States?
I think as soon as they bring back supersonic jets, and there is some talk, once the Concorde crashed, that was the end.
Yeah.
Do you know what have you ever heard of the Concorde?
No, are they bringing the Concorde back?
There have been people.
There have been rumors.
Oh, we're back, baby.
This is a big deal. There has not been. This is a crazy thing to think about for those of us who are old. And so, Greg, I'll address this to you.
Thank you.
Has there been real innovation in the aerospace industry in our lifetime?
I mean,
it still takes
removing outer space tourism.
Yeah, but that doesn't help me get to a game faster.
No, in fact, many would argue we've taken a step back lately.
Yes.
Yes, we certainly could argue that, especially if you ever use EWR. I would say that if the ability to travel overseas to London, if you can lower that time from New York and get it down to 3 to a 3.5 hour flight, and you make it so you can go play more than one game there, the way the Vikings are this year, the way the Jaguars have done in the past, you make it so it's easier for teams to play multiple games. You will see international games. You may see an international division, and then you will see an international Super Bowl. Greg, you and I will still have a microphone in front of us. God willing, there will be an international Super Bowl.
Wow.
I feel like it shouldn't be that hard, should it? To have an international Super Bowl?
I think the bigger issue is probably taxes and working that out with the players' union. You oversaw a team in a different country, and that was just Canada, and it was certainly complicated. I mean, whole different tax structure over in Europe. A lot of players wouldn't be excited to go there. You might have people blocking draft picks the way that Eli did when he didn't want to go to San Diego, right, David?
Let me give you a shout out to Revenue Quebec. It is the biggest. It makes the IRS look fantastic. It is such a pain in the neck for players who are dealing with Canada taxes. You get credits for your U.S. taxes, but you have to fight for if they're dollar for dollar. It's a whole Megillah when you play 81 of your games in Canada, which is half of your salary gets taxed in Canada. It's a complete pain in the neck to cross the border back and forth all these times. So you're right. It is a definite lift. And if you are playing in London and you have small kids, it's a big union issue because you can't just go back and forth as easily, which brings us back to the supersonic jet, because you can have your family live in New York and play for Houston, and the union doesn't say a word about it. And if the flying time becomes somewhat similar to get to a different place, you're just going east instead of west, I think that can happen.
But David, a Super Bowl, though, again, I go back, like you guys are talking in terms of a team being based overseas. Yes, that can be complicated. To have a Super Bowl.
Why is that such a big deal?
What,
what Minnesota gets a Super Bowl? I'm
how hard could it be to have a Super Bowl in Madrid or in Rome or
that would seem to be the way to actually usher in a new era of European expansion for the NFL is start with the Super Bowl and then announce all these other things.
But we start it on our time, or do we start it on Madrid's time? Because they're 6 hours ahead.
No, the NFL is always considered Europe when it comes to the Super Bowl starts. It's not a prime time start. They try to increase the audience. It's usually like a 6:15-ish start that does consider international markets.
Well, that's pretty late though. The Super Bowl that starts at, I think kickoff is normally 6:29 Eastern. That's 11:30 in
David,
England.
if you're a rights holder, you kind of want the primetime spot.
It's Sunday. Do a 1 p.m. kickoff. Like, what's the big deal?
That's what it would be.
Yeah,
the
do it
Super
like a
Bowl
Saturday.
Yeah,
like a 3:30 is fine.
Why 3:30? 1 o'clock's fine.
Because it's 8:30 in the UK. I mean, we're getting down in the weeds here.
So let's take it back a little macro. The way owners vote on Super Bowls is where they want to be, because unlike the other sports, every owner goes to the Super Bowl. No owners go to the World Series. I mean, I would bet you $1
they don't go.
that 2 owners at most go to the NBA Finals, maybe 0.
Yeah.
But in the Super Bowl, they all go. And they want to go where it's nice. It's why Miami is always a great choice. Vegas, obviously. LA, obviously. Minnesota was less than ideal. But when you have to get a Super Bowl in order to get a publicly funded stadium and the trade that's made, owners are willing to give in on that because they want the new facilities. Going to Europe, not the end of the world, but it's not a great time of year in early February in any of these big European cities. London's weather in February, terrible.
Yeah. David, you've been having a busy couple of days here with graduations, right? Kids are graduating. It's the cycle of life, guys, right? The baby bird comes out of the shell and grows up, and then one day he's got to leave the nest and fly. And so have you
They're tough to sit through, though. I mean, they are.
Dude, they're
long.
It is brutal. Incredibly long. Incredibly long. And I've never, I guess I've been to, like, my kid's middle school graduation. That doesn't count. But, like, I've walked for my graduate and undergraduate degrees, and it was a big waste of time. I didn't do it because I wanted to do it. I did it because my family was there. I was like, they want to see this, so let me just go ahead and do it.
So, again, I'm not saying that I'm a candidate for Father of the Year by any stretch. What I am saying is that I have a note on my phone where I keep track of a lot of stuff. I would like to read to you the following. 06, 09, 09, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 17, 20, 20, 21, 21, 25, 25, 25. I've kept track of graduations since 2006 in my phone of obligations that I would have to go to. And I just finished. I swear to you, yesterday was the final when my daughter became a doctor. And I'm so proud of them, I grant you. But God damn it, that was so many graduations.
You're done.
I lost my mind, Stu. It was hours. I don't care that I have to watch 80 other people get hooded and then watch 200 people get their name called. I'm there for my 2 seconds. Give me a slot, and I will show up for the slot. It's like the ballet recitals for a 4-year-old. I don't want to sit there 8 hours to watch my daughter do 3 minutes of a dance.
I'm kind of with you on this, David.
I'm totally with him on
Dude,
that.
it's like that's a lot of. By the way, graduations are boring.
Very boring.
Yeah, and you get someone.
So boring.
Someone has to come give a speech, and they do the whole like you're gonna go out into the world, or you're gonna change the world. I'm like, oh, shut up, shut up. We all want to get out of here.
I mean, it was great the first time when you're, a child graduates kindergarten.
Yeah.
And
No, you didn't
first
even-
grade.
Yeah, but that's a short
pre-K.
one, man.
Well,
It's
one-
kindergarten.
Oh, it was not short.
Really?
How big was your kindergarten class?
It wasn't that big, but they were celebrating multiple classes. It was
Yeah,
like two hours.
But also, but I'm just saying, as a participant, forget about being a parent. As a kid, I'm just sitting there waiting for them to call my name, twiddling my thumb. Oh, that's me. Go up there, you take your picture, and that's it, right? And so now, when you extrapolate it from kindergarten, and then middle school graduation, high school graduation, then you get to college graduation, right? It's like, okay, we've done this before, but the college one. Not only is it the biggest one with the most people, but it's got these speeches. And the speeches are sanctimonious as hell. Like, who the hell are you to tell me I'm going to go out in the world and make a change that I want to see and all that stuff? Shut up. Get to the point. Make it fast. We want to get out of here. I want to eat with my family. I want to hug my mom. I want to take pictures. I don't want to sit here listening to you wax poetic about where the world is and how it needs me.
Stugotz, who's the person that gives the speech during these graduation classes? Starts with a V.
I have no idea.
You trying to
the
lose your way?
valedictorian?
Yeah, the valedictorian. There it is.
Got to remember your own bits.
Victor something?
But also, you got to know your teammates. Like a 17-year-old callback, really?
Oh, no, he remembers.
With no heads
no,
up.
he absolutely remembers, Mike.
What?
David, what was the most memorable thing of yesterday's graduation for you?
I mean, it's cool to hear your child named as a doctor. I get it. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And so I'm in. And it was cool to watch my son graduate. The coolest part was that I got to run into the owner of the Cardinals, who I hadn't seen in 7
Bidwell?
years.
Or the baseball
No,
Cardinals?
sorry. Funny. St. Louis Cardinals in baseball.
Got it.
That's funny
The
where
other
your
Ron
head
Harper.
is. So there's a bunch of interesting kids who graduated with my son. And so that was interesting to see sort of what people are doing and what the world is, how these people are communicating at age 22 that I don't communicate at age 57. It makes you feel old. My biggest emotion that I had watching my youngest child graduate college, I had pride for him. I'm proud of him. I really am, though I would have hoped he wouldn't have dropped out or not graduated once he got into college. But that said, proud of him. He wrote a great thesis. He's working starting next month in the real world. Fine.
Wait a sec. Great thesis.
It was.
What
It was like from war games about global thermonuclear war.
Really?
The best game is not to play.
Shall we play a game?
David, I do not owe you an apology over the Bryce Harper stuff. He has a 143 OPS plus over his career to Joe Mauer's 124. He also has 200 more home runs in one less season, also an extra MVP. But what I do potentially owe you an apology for is a few weeks ago on this program, Dan said that I said your basketball analysis was off. What that conversation led to, Dan was wrong. Dan threw me under the bus. Yep. But what that conversation led to was me saying there's no way that the Minnesota Timberwolves made the Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns trade for basketball reasons. You were insistent that they did. And Julius Randle has been really, really, really good. So, David, I would like, hand up, I would like to formally apologize for the criticism of your analysis, and I'd like to apologize to Julius Randle, who's been fantastic. And do I think him being great is good for the ultimate winning of the Minnesota Timberwolves? Fantastic for the expectations.
It might be,
fantastic for the expectations. Do I think that him being their leading scorer is any good for the Timberwolves? Absolutely not. I think that's a bad thing. But, David, I can see what you were saying, and I owe you an apology.
Apology accepted, Jeremy, but I would like to just tell you that I have no recollection what you're talking about. But I do appreciate it.
Wow, I figured you would, of all people.
No, I don't keep track that way, actually. I don't do receipts. I'm not the victory lap guy because my legs would get tired. It doesn't matter.
Too many victories.
Everyone
to
is
keep track of.
entitled to be wrong.
He's just keeping track of graduation days.
Yeah, he'll show us that $2 billion receipt there.
There is a sports storyline going on this week that I'm shocked at how little discussion there has been, because I know it's a niche sport, but when Lance Armstrong's doing his thing, mainstream media talks about it. The biggest day in motorsports is happening on Sunday. You have Monaco, the Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, which used to be a way bigger deal, but 300,000 people are going to be in attendance in Indianapolis. And then NASCAR debuts on Amazon Prime later that evening with a race in Charlotte. There is one man in the history of this planet that has pulled off running all 1,100 miles in the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. 2 different cities, 2 different races, 2 different circuits, 1 driver. It's Tony Stewart. It's the only person that ever did it.
I thought you were going to say Ricky Bobby.
Only person that ever did it for IndyCar and then NASCAR on the same damn day. They completed all the miles. 2 others have tried. 2 others failed.
How'd he do?
Kyle Larson was the most recent to try. He tried last year. Both races were impacted by rain. Kyle Larson led one of the final laps before ultimately having to go into gas because he made a rookie mistake there, and then flew to Charlotte on the same day. Was never actually able to get in the car because rain impacted it. Kyle Larson is once again trying for the double. 2 races, 1 day, 1,100 miles. This is a massive story. Prime has a documentary series behind it. They are launching their coverage of NASCAR with Larson going for the back end of that double. Why? And I know they're competing interests because NASCAR doesn't seem fully on board with this because it looks like Kyle Larson is prioritizing a different circuit. But this is great for the sport. It's great for all motorsports, and I don't understand why NASCAR and IndyCar aren't getting together and really teaming up and pushing this news out there, because few people even know that this is happening.
Mike,
David.
real quick question. You said Tony Stewart's the only one to do it.
How did every single mile.
How did he do it? How did he do?
He did top 6 in Indianapolis and top 3 in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He didn't win. It goes without saying, no one's ever pulled off the amazing feat of winning both races. But the specter of that does loom over this weekend. Kyle Larson's one of the most talented drivers. If he pulls that off in one day, if he wins both races, I don't think he's fast enough in Indy, but if he does, it's the single greatest motorsports achievement we've ever seen. And people should know that there is a chance of this happening over the weekend.
From the movie The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger, we have white Rodney Roland.
Huh. Do they wear diapers, Mike?
They just go in their tracksuits. We've asked every time, earlier in the show's history, anytime we had a NASCAR driver, it was Dan's go-to question.
And the answer is they just go in their pants?
Go. Yeah, they just go. But they get so dehydrated during that race.
They're not peeing that much. They're not.
If you're not peeing, you're not drinking enough.
Well,
they also have lines of water. They get hydrated, but it's something that does happen occasionally. They pee in their. That's your response to Kyle Larson trying for this historic
I have a
double?
better one, Mike. Is that analytics have told me that under 0.01% of our audience at Nothing Personal wants that as one of the topics. And so that's why I don't cover it. I want to cover F1. I thought that the hook of Drive to Survive and people getting excited about that and McLaren, how great they've been. The fact of the matter is that, the kinks, Ray Davies, baby, give the people what they want. I can't find my particular show.
But that's on your show.
It.
Mike asked you a question.
No, I get it. I get it. And
I'm
look,
not the only one who thinks that way.
I understand why this show doesn't talk about NASCAR seriously. I have to put on a gimmick helmet anytime that I do.
Yeah, you haven't done that.
I understand why that does. But this is a transcendent sports story. This is someone looking to do something that only one other person has achieved, someone actually trying to win both races, who actually has a legitimate chance. Kyle Larson wins all the time in NASCAR, and he led one of the final laps last year in Indy. If there's a driver to pull it off in the modern age, it's Kyle Larson. I feel like this is a story that if the average sports fan knew what was going on a Sunday, one day a year they can get behind the biggest day in motorsports. It's a Sunday afternoon before Memorial Day. It's Americana. I feel like people need to know about this story, and it's not even being covered or addressed by the mainstream. And it's Indianapolis. It's the Indy 500. It's a big deal.
I'll take an alert. If I get an alert with 3 laps to go out of the 1100 saying, hey, Kyle Larson's about to do this, I would tune in.
David, what are you reviewing for us today?
I'm reviewing a movie that not a lot of people have seen, and I'm hoping that somebody on this show has. It came out in 2024, not widely recognized, with one of my favorite actors, Bill Nighy, and James Norton and Thomasine McKenzie. It's called Joy, The Birth of IVF. I didn't know the backstory of IVF. I didn't know that it was developed in the 70s and that the precursor was known as test tube babies. I knew that.
You don't remember that? There's a
I
guy's a
do,
test tube
but
baby.
I didn't know that test tube babies became IVF. I didn't realize all of the religious implications. I just lived in my own world. I didn't realize all of the issues that existed when it was developed in London by scientists over the objections of everybody. I didn't realize that there was the first baby who was born from IDF and what it's led to with 12 million children able to get life and parents who suffer from infertility issues able to have the joys of going to a graduation every year. I was not aware of that, and this movie captures it. It's based on a true story, quite obviously, and I love when I get to watch movies and learn, and I love to be entertained. It went quickly. I didn't check my phone. I didn't Google during the movie to learn about the stuff. I Googled after to sort of follow up fact versus fiction, the usual. If you can find it, you can go to Netflix. It's called Joy, The Birth of IVF. And I suggest it for anybody and everybody, whether you have children or not.
Thank you, David. Appreciate your time. Nothing personal with David Sampson. Catch it every day wherever you get podcasts. Real quick, let's go to the boldest take of the week.
The Boost Mobile Boldest Take from the weekend on a Wednesday is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country. You can call 305-486-GOTS. That's 305-486-4689.
Edric from Texas. Tim Allen is the best TV show actor of a generation. 3 different decades, 3 different shows. He's hilarious as hell.
Golden Oreos are better than regular Oreos.
What's up, fellas? This is Tony calling from Mobile. Just made a mess of pancakes for the kids, and I'm just now realizing butter is infinitely more important than syrup for pancakes. I'll hang up and listen.
Hey, it's Frank on a satellite phone. I got a limited fake Lou Dobbs as a pop artist. Waddle-a-hee, waddle-a-haw, waddle-a-hoo, waddle-a-haw.
Hey guys, Rachel on the Mobile, 2016, first time, long time. My hot take from the weekend, Lenny Kravitz does not own a shirt with more than 4 buttons. I'll hang up and listen.
Zaza Pachulia, Zaza Pachulia, Zaza Pachulia, my favorite big man.
Hey guys, hi from Ohio. Hey, my friends and I are big fans of the show, been listening forever, but we need your help. We have a bet amongst ourselves, and we need to answer so we can decide who is right. It's regarding Dan's hat size. The over-under is 9.5.
Over.
drunk, and Roy has to finish his hockey segment.
Mike Ryan has landed in Vegas. God knows what time it is right there. God knows if he's slept at all and what kind of intoxicants he's on. But let's just play sound from Mike Ryan. He's not chasing the Jokic brothers in Denver. That's a mean. But let's play the sound before we introduce Mike Ryan and his nice hat.
I'm actually hearing, we're about to play this sound here. I'm actually hearing Mike Ryan is hopping in the Zoom. But let's play this video first to set it up.
All right, is the video ready? Because a lot is happening around here this week. It's crazy. This is a careening clown car that is going to pinball all over the place, and I'm very scared we're going to get in trouble this week because it's hard to keep the lights on, and we shouldn't do any of this stuff live. Let's go ahead and go to Mike's initial report. Was it from the Vegas airport? Was it around slot machines? Where was he? Let's listen in.
Howdy, folks. Just here in fabulous Las Vegas. Have a great time. Just landed. And it's going to create a lot of special content for all you guys out there. It's Sunday Fun Day. World is our oyster. And we're just getting going. Where's the Tropicana? It's the wrong kind of big cat. Different big cat's going to be taking over the strip. Let's get a drink.
Welcome to the world famous Las Vegas Strip. As you can see behind me,
Man, my battery's dead. No, not. I have a. There's a battery store right in there. Battery store, right? There's a battery store right in there. I'll come back.
Wait.
Be right back. Yep.
No, you want me to get it?
No, I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah. Be right back. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes.
He's got a gambling problem. That's what this is going to end.
Hello, Miguel? Michael? Is this Mike? Michael, you want Michael? Is this Mike Ryan? This is Michael's friend. Hey, listen here, okay? D1, okay? Do you know what D1 means? D1 means don't worry about nothing, okay? Don't worry about nothing. Miguel, he's in good hands, okay? That's all you need to know.
He was kidnapped, but we have him in the Zoom.
Trying to reach Mike Ryan. No, you'll see Michael. You'll see Miguel. You'll see him tomorrow, okay? He'll be okay,
man, hey, let him know his producer, John, is trying to reach him.
He'll know. I got you, okay? I'll leave a message, okay? Get some ask, okay? Miguel, Messiah, the Hanalo, okay?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Some honey, the Hanalo, okay? Go Panthers, go Panthers, go out. Meow. Take care, okay? Ciao.
I mean, we sent Mike to Vegas on a Meadowlark account. I didn't know we had sent John Reed to Vegas on a Meadowlark account. Do we trust him enough to have him in Vegas? I don't know.
Gotta have a producer.
I don't know about that one, Dan.
Mike Ryan, thank you, Tony. I don't know why he's there on an account. Mike, are you sober? What time is it right now in Vegas?
Oh, okay. They got to patch us through.
Mike, you got us?
Mike, are you there Okay, excellent work by you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that
this is a them issue.
Ready to go.
Your concerns have been validated.
But just look at him.
I mean,
holy shit.
I didn't know he was going. I didn't know we could have used him here.
Was that a Haitian accent? What was that accent?
The kidnapper is of undeterminate foreign kidnapping skills and ethnicity.
Well, bad skills if he's in the
like
Zoom.
from Top Gun.
It's just a general threatening accent. Could be from anywhere in the world. Could be any kind of person.
There he goes.
Yes, yeah. Vegas nightclub life is no good for him.
I can't hear. No puedo oír.
You can hear me. You can. Mike, can you give us a report here from Vegas? Roy's going out for games 5 and 7. We haven't had time to get to Roy's notes. Roy's mistakes. Do you want to go over them with him? Do you guys, Roy, go ahead and handle this segment here with Mike Ryan and talk about our hockey coverage.
Is he at the Waldorf? I mean,
I can't hear them.
All right, Mike. I will try not to go as loud.
Fine.
You got a hangover, so I'm going to go with the mistakes that the Panthers made. So let's go with the Jonathan Marshall show going right now, all right?
So both your D-men went behind the net, both of them, covering one man. That left the front of the net wide open for Jonathan Montesoro. So that's one mistake right there. He had some bad luck with Anthony Duclair blocking the shot. So he was hobbled on the ice, could not get off the ice.
Right.
And Shea Theodore made a move on him at the blue line, turned around, left him in the dust, ended up in the middle of the ice. And the screen in front of Bob could not see the puck. Allowed that
Bob trying to see the puck was one of the great videos.
I thought he was going to start jumping up and down on his skates. Yes.
And then the last mistake here, the Mark Stone goal. Aaron Ekblad tried to clear the puck out of the zone. Puck rolled up on him, ended up being a pop fly basically, and Mark Stone knocked it down with a high stick, which they reviewed. I still think it was a high stick, but
same. They were saying that it's like when he's standing tall, right?
But he's tall
because he's skating. It's lower. Get out of here. If it's above the shoulder, it's a high stick.
Yeah, he leaned to the right, so his shoulder dipped a little bit.
But they're saying if he was standing straight, it would not have been a high stick. That's what they're saying.
The puck was over the crossbar.
They were projecting.
Mike Ryan, your thoughts? Live coverage from Vegas, hungover, 6 o'clock in the morning. Get some sleep. Your thoughts on Roy's mistakes? He still can't hear me. All right. Excellent work, John Reed. Thank you. Now's a good time to take care of the lights and everything there with the last 4 seconds of the segment. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your hard work.
Billy does Barbados Carnival.
So welcome back, Billy, and I don't know where this particular tension is going to end up. Welcome back. And I also want to get to Mike Ryan. He does not agree with you on Hard Knocks, Chris. He doesn't.
Oh, trust me. We had a whole text exchange last night. I almost drove to his house to fight him.
Yeah, you guys have very wildly disparate opinions on the Oakland Raiders and Hard Knocks. But first, Billy, welcome back. How was your honeymoon?
It was good. Thank you for asking.
Oh, he's tightened up his game now that he's refreshed. Okay, things are
it's just so hot today, Dan. I don't know what's going on with the air, but luckily I have this little fan that I bought before a hurricane that I have plugged into my phone, so like it's keeping me nice and cool.
I'm so jealous.
You guys should get these. These things are awesome. Look at it, Dan. You see this thing? Look at this.
Can you please tell me about all the awkward things that happened to you? Did anything weird happen to you in Barbados? Like what kind of, just give me some awkward Billy on his honeymoon stuff. Is there anything that...
The non-awkward would be a much shorter story.
Yeah, I wonder how this is going to go. What's the best you got from your honeymoon? And then we'll move on to other things like Antonio trying to steal your job.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa!
Antonio, just go sit in his chair. We'll get back to it.
I'm back, baby.
I want to hear the whole story. I just don't understand why you can't even get the name right of Carnival. And like,
it's Crop Over. That's fine.
Why is it called a honeymoon?
It's a good question.
That is a good question. Put it on the poll, Antonio, now that you've replaced Billy in his chair. Do you know why they call it a honeymoon? Mike, do you have the sound? A very simple sound, a very simple question. Basically, I want you to hear Billy, who has a reputation for yammering and just not being able to get anything out, and he's rusty, because he hasn't been paying attention to the internet for 10 days. So he came in here today, and it was just a furnace blast of news, all of it weird, disorienting. The local hour has gone someplace else.
We showed him Antonio Brown's feet.
Yeah, like he's missed a lot. I'm actually scared when I disappear for my honeymoon. I'm going to come back and I feel like things are just going to be gone. There's the possibility like the shipping container room just floated off into the Atlantic Ocean.
We're still not out of hurricane season.
Yeah, I am going to fall it's very easy to fall very far behind, very fast when it comes to the amount of stimulation and news and sports stuff that you are getting. Billy was off the grid. He comes back. Everything's changed except his inability to say anything quickly. So
it's white now.
Everything is different. Like you
That's the most efficient you've ever been.
Yes. Look at that. Did you learn something on your honeymoon? Okay, so lest you think he has cured his ills of not being efficient, please play for the audience. This is Billy Rusty returning from his honeymoon. Just him simply trying to say where he was.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's
for
a
the
different
love of
story.
God.
All right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa! You would have kept going. You would have given it 20 names if I didn't cut you off and kick you out. You would have given it 20 names. Actually, the roots of the word come from the 1700s and indigenous people.
I was upset you did that to Billy his first day back, but hearing it back, he absolutely deserved it.
Again, I want you to hear again, just Mike, the last part of it, where he's simply trying to say, Billy is simply trying to tell us, this is a very simple transaction. Hey, Billy, where were you? What were you doing? He got snagged and stuck on where were you?
I've had a lot of awkwardness, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for
How do I not get frustrated with that? Like, I missed it for 10 days, but I don't miss it anymore.
Those are important details.
I normally don't hear, but I heard it.
All right, start again then. And real quick, Mike, just the short version. Billy being asked, where were you, Billy, on your honeymoon? This is a simple question. It gets a simple response in most circumstances, unless you're talking to Billy.
So in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, Billy, we've established where you are and what it's called, kind of. Now, proceed.
All right, so this is how it works. Crop Over is like a couple months long, and Kadooment is like the grand finale, and it's like a carnival type thing, and you guys will see from time to time, every once in a while, Rihanna will go back to Barbados, and she'll be like parading in the streets, and it's like Brazilian carnival, basically. So we wanted to do that, which is not something that at all is something that I would probably ever be in my comfort zone, right? You would think me parading.
It's a lack of repressions. It is free, liberated people being themselves. So of course that's the worst place in the world for you to be soaked in fear.
Oh, it gets worse. So to participate in this, you have to sign up with what are called bands, and they have a bunch of different bands that you sign up for. So we found a band, and then I get my costume. You have to pay to get costumes. So I'm going through the streets, and I'm shirtless, and I'm in pink shorts and a cowboy hat and all this fake jewelry that they have on, that it's like massive, like this pendant around my chest and like these arm cuffs. So I'm like going through the streets dressed not in all a way that I'd ever be comfortable doing it. And I thought that, you know what, it's like a parade. It'll be like the Three Kings.
So we've been talking today about supersonic flight, about White Rodney, but the real issue has not been expressed yet, which is the show, the rehearsal, has made me fretful over aviation. Yesterday on my flight, in the middle of the flight, you know how the flight attendants will put the cart in front so you can't come to the captain's about to come out, and the first officer came out and he was kind of just like small talking with the flight attendants.
Hate that.
I hate it.
Go to the bathroom, man.
No, he wasn't going to the bathroom. He was just there to small talk. And I looked at him and I realized I'd never thought about this until I started watching the rehearsal. This guy's young. He's like in his 20s. I'm like, that's who I'm trusting in case something goes wrong with the pilot, to speak up to the pilot and let him know that, like, hey, maybe I should get controls. You know me, guys. I never get afraid on flights because I know I'm going to die. But yesterday was the first time it hit me like, oh, maybe I don't make it out of a flight. And it's all because of that damn show. If I had never watched that show, I would have never thought about it. But it's terrifying to think about.
You got to have a middle-aged pilot.
Yeah, someone with a little grit, right?
I don't want somebody my age, but I don't want somebody in their 20s.
Middle-aged, white.
You got to have a middle-aged.
You don't want a hot shot.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Someone trying to be a hero?
That's dangerous.
Someone with a little alcohol on his breath to calm his nerves.
That's right.
Don't want a maverick.
Yeah.
Maybe a little sexist.
Yeah.
With a drawl, got to have a southern drawl.
Little draw, yeah.
Yeah.
Very inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That was a yeah, followed by a no.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Maybe toe the line.
And it's called the cockpit.
Yeah. Because cocks are in there.
Right.
All cocks in there.
Subtle, yeah.
It's a pit. It's a pit of cocks. It's a cockpit.
What do you guys do if a celebrity follows you on Instagram?
Follow back.
Yeah.
That's number one. Well, follow back unless they're one of those
Unless
people.
I was already following.
Unless it's like Tay Diggs
Right.
and they follow like 1 million
Yeah.
people. And then it's
Like
no.
John Cena. I was like, oh, John Cena's following me, but then he follows that.
Who decided to follow you, Billy?
No, I mean, no one's following me, but there's a lot of hubbub going around in the office. You know me, I'm not a gossip, but there's hubbub going on in the office, and someone was followed here by a celebrity, and then someone else is jealous of said celebrity following the other person.
Can we get the name of the celebrity?
Well, if I tell you the name, you're not going to think it's a celebrity. So
That's
a big flaw in
So
all
then-
of this.
then that kind of
puts me in a
ruins-
position to like brag about Keith Yandel following me on IG, which is not something that I wanted on the air, but sure.
I didn't say that you or his name. You
No, you
volunteered
didn't.
that information.
You
I was
didn't.
just
Yeah, you just put something out
asking.
there that now I have to jump in with.
You don't have to. It
Who's
could have been.
Keith
It could have been
Exactly. Now this is what's happening.
It could have been
Who's
Jeremy.
Keith Yandel's
that did
happening.
it.
now?
Yeah, it could have been me. Yeah, it could have been Jeremy. It could have
Who's
been
Keith
me
Yandel?
talking about Adonis Velez following.
How
me.
do I keep
Shout
getting
out to
scheduled
Panthers,
on
7-2
Wednesdays?
right now. Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
Why am I scheduled on Wednesdays?
I'm just asking a question what you do because Roy's very jealous of the Yandel situation. He's
Well,
a Panther.
I said, I just casually said,
yeah.
I'm like, Keith Yandel followed me on IG. It's pretty cool. And Roy said, that's bullshit. Like his reaction to it was like immediately, there's an odd reaction. And it's because he's been trying to get Keith Yandel on the hockey show. I'm like, well, I can't
Really?
help you. I'm not going to. My first act after Keith
Yeah.
Yandel follows
You
me on
can't help
IG.
him.
No,
is not,
you
I'm
don't
not
wanna
gonna
bother
DM Keith
Keith.
Yandel. Like
No.
moments after
You
the
gotta
follow,
wait,
I'm going to be
yeah.
like, hey, can you show up on the hockey show? I'm
No,
not-
no. Dave Dwork has his phone number, but he hasn't,
Dworky.
he hasn't
Oh,
accepted
oh,
yet.
oh,
But
oh.
my problem is
You're off the hook, Mike. I mean, Dworky has his number. He's not like, what are we doing here?
No, my problem is I want to be followed on Instagram or Twitter by Keith Yandel.
Why?
I find it unfair that he hasn't yet.
You've said a
Roy-
lot of bad things
Totally
about Keith
unfair.
Yandel.
I have
Like,
not said bad.
Roy, once
No,
he's
I
on the
have
show, once he's on the show, that's where the whole that's where you unfollow and then refollow just
Yeah.
to get his attention, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Like,
that's definitely how you handle it.
I would say this. I don't want to be followed by Keith Yandel. So Keith Yandel, if you're listening, don't follow me,
follow
buddy,
me.
because I don't
follow
want you
back.
to follow me. I'm not going to make you a close friend. You're not going to see anything about my life. Please don't follow me. I'm not interested.
Keith has played for a lot of teams. He was famously an Ironman in the NHL. Latter part of his career spent here in Florida. Now, Florida has been making these deeper runs for the last few years. Keith, I think, was playing for one of them. Last year, wasn't. He could have had the opportunity to seize at Turner because he's a part of their broadcast occasionally to be the pro Panther guy. And he didn't take it last year. But this year, with Biz and the Panthers playing Biz's favorite Maple Leaf team, Keith seized this opportunity. And now, like this, he's become the Panther guy in media.
Keith is an unfortunate name.
Is it?
Right? Yeah, because you can't have a nickname for Keith.
Keithy.
What's a nickname for Keith?
Wow, Billy Wednesday.
Neko.
That's
Well,
a good point.
in hockey,
Okay.
they call him Yans.
Yans?
Did you go Keithy?
Keithy.
Yeah.
Keithy.
To
Yans.
Billy's point, it's an unfortunate name.
You want a name to give you a nickname, right?
Yeah,
Like most
have to.
names you can have a nickname.
What's Greg a nickname for?
Gregory.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
G. I've been called
What's a nickname for Jeremy? Jerry?
Jer Bear. People call him Jer Bear.
Hold
So-
on a second. Who
Yeah,
calls
people
you?
have always done that for
who
sure.
calls
They also
you
call him
G?
annoying.
a couple of people.
Like who?
What if someone has
Think of it again.
what if someone has a ridiculous name
Like
that
what?
sounds like a nickname but is actually a full legal name?
Like what?
We mentioned the Indianapolis 500. There is a dude in the IndyCar series whose name is actually Stingray Robb.
Oh, get out of here.
That's a good name.
Yeah,
Stingray Rob's a good name.
That's the guy from Cobra Kai, Stingray.
But I believe it's first name Sting, middle name Ray.
Awesome.
Last name Rob with 2 B's.
Double B Rob, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
to top it all off, the car that he's driving at Indy is painted in the U.S. Constitution.
Can we play a game called Guess Where Stingray Robb Was Born?
America.
I'm ashamed that I know about this.
No, but guess what state and city Stingray Bob was born in?
Kentucky.
Stingray Bob is a different person.
Oh, Rob, whatever his name is.
Well, that's his
Memphis.
Memphis. That's a good guess.
I'm going to go with St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Texarkana.
The answer is actually kind of shocking.
Yeah.
South Dakota.
Well, Boise, Idaho.
You're getting warmer.
Yeah.
Boise, Idaho.
Not a lot of
Stingray Rob.
stingrays.
There's no aquarium over there.
If your name's Stingray Rob, Stingray Bob could be a nickname for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's short for Rob.
Like
But
Big
what do
Shot
you-
Bob.
But what do you call him as a nickname?
Stinger.
Yeah, Stinger's a good nickname.
Yeah. Stinger. Yeah.
Stinger.
I know a guy named Jetty. He has 2 kids. He's about to have twins.
Oh, wait.
Crazy situation. Congrats to them.
Speaking of Indy 500, NASCAR, whatever, I have to point out that this desk is starting to look like a NASCAR car. Like, how many plugs is happening here? What's happening? I can't even see the monitor.
What do you?
Because there's so much product placement happening. Get
Right
the
up.
wide shot, please, the 3 shot, so that people can see. All that's left is a Pennzoil decal on it.
We got both Greg Cody books.
Wide shot,
stand
3
up
shot,
on it.
3 shot, guys. Come
And
on,
a
wide
G.
shot.
Wide shot.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry to be promoting my 2 books, The Pride of a Lion and Back in My Day.
And then Stugotz, what are you promoting?
God bless football. I'm just asking people to subscribe to the podcast because if they don't, my kids won't eat.
They're in college.
What about Billy's kids?
Where's your book, by the way?
It's around. I
Did
don't
you
know.
stop promoting that? Did you just hit goals or whatever? We haven't heard about that book in a long time.
There's something in the works. We
It's
can't
sold
talk
out.
about it.
There's
couldn't
something in
get
the
one.
works. I'll have news for you hopefully tomorrow.
Auctioning
my
movie
God.
rights.
Okay, well, here's the question. Will we get news from Stugotz tomorrow before we get news of who the NBA MVP is? Because Jesus Christ, NBA, what are we doing? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Zach Harper did a study. This is the latest the MVP has been named since 1998.
Huh.
We're coming up on 30 years if we haven't had an MVP named this late. And for what? Is it Shea? Give it to him already.
It's so crazy, especially considering the series that you had in front of you last series where it was between both MVP candidates. Like, that's the ultimate narrative that you want. Release that either right before or during that series. Create some sort of storyline. Whether it's Jokic, whether it's Shea, it doesn't make a difference.
What possible reason would they have to withhold this information?
The Athletic said, their sources say that today is the day that hopefully we're going to get the MVP award announced. But after game 1 of the Western Conference Final, it doesn't make any sense to me that they held it back this long.
Why wait?
It should be right after the regular season.
No.
If they're not going to include the playoffs, which they should, I think.
No.
I agree with you.
The votes are tallied the day after the regular, or the votes, submission is the deadline is the day after the regular season, right? They tally them within like 48 hours, so they already know. I like the slow rollout. Rookie of the year, 6 Man of the year, Coach of the year. But like the idea that we got the last award 2 weeks ago, and then they just wasted an entire 7-game series where they could have, like Jeremy said, it was a 7-game series between the top 2 guys. Why wouldn't they just do it right then? And then they didn't want to tip the scales, right? All right, game 1. What we're gonna wait till game 2 for this? Why?
Well, the obvious answer is that the NBA is still in the process of rigging the election.
That is the obvious answer.
I do like including the playoffs. Like, if Oklahoma City played the Knicks in the finals and the Knicks won that series, I could see Jalen Brunson winning the MVP.
But they have an award for that. They have a conference finals MVP
but a conference
and they have a finals
award,
MVP.
It should be a full season award, in my
The
opinion.
Biden Cup.
Is it a full season award in any other sport?
It doesn't matter. Let's break ground.
Okay,
Let's set trends.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I
we're the
guess
NBA.
the Ballon d'Or takes into account like what you do
the Ballon d'Or.
in all competitions.
Who could forget the Ballon d'Or?
It takes into account all, including international competitions.
Because it's a year thing, right?
Francisco Lindor.
It's like Man of the Year.
Yeah.
Rob Brindamore? Ballon d'Or?
Rodney.
It's Jack Adams.
Stingray Rob.
Stingray Rob.
Full circle.
It is. I found another reason why it's the greatest weekend in motorsports.
Oh, Jesus.
Inaugural. We have 6 Oscar Mayer Weiner Mobiles racing on Friday at the Brickyard.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first time.
You want to talk about celebrities that follow me? The Oscar Mayer Wiener car follows me on.
Congratulations. Weiner Mobile does not follow you.
It follows me on Instagram.
No, that's bull crap.
Yeah, check it out.
Why?
Look it up. Why?
I am gonna look
Because
it
I'm
up.
a cool guy.
Yeah, Weiner Mobile. If you're listening, I don't want you to follow me either.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why is the Wiener? I don't. Can I tell you something? The Weiner Mobile is one of those things. I don't want to know there's 6 of them.
Yeah, that is true.
I'd like to think there's one Wienermobile, and when I see it, it's a special thing. If there's
agree.
6 of them, I don't need to know there's 6. Same thing with like Goodyear Blimp. I don't know how many there are.
Right.
I want to think there's one of them. And if I see it, wow, this is a big game. The Goodyear Blimp is here. They're flying all around the country. I don't need to know that.
That's a fleet. Right.
Yeah, exactly right.
right.
Not
Yeah.
Fleet Week. Get out of here.
This feels dangerous.
TYFYS, by the way.
6 Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles racing at top speed around the
They're-
brick.
What is the bank situation too? Because like those things are tall.
Yeah, it's
like
not-
we could have a thing where wieners are toppling over.
I don't think the
Watch
bank
out,
at the Brickyard is that crazy.
What is the top speed for the Wienermobile?
Huh.
It's got to be 30, 40 miles an hour, no?
That fast?
Yeah, I would think so.
Huh.
It can't
I'm
be
on
any
it.
faster.
I would bet it's
Wind
faster
resistance.
than that.
Yeah, not very aerodynamic. those
Misspelling Oscar Mayer this whole time.
Yeah, it's a whole
Really?
thing.
M.A.
It's
you
May
spell it?
Oscar Mayer.
They literally sing the song
Yeah, they
for
have a
you.
song.
My
Yeah, they do.
baloney has a first name, it's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name, it's MAYER.
I'm familiar.
Barely remember that. I was very young.
AI
70
overview?
miles per hour, by the
Yeah,
way.
but that's probably wrong. It's AI overview. I'll find the actual answer.
70
Google doesn't
miles
know
an
anything
hour.
anymore.
Man, Google's gotten a lot worse since
It's
since
awful.
Gemini showed
It's
up.
genuinely so bad.
Gemini just lies.
ChatGPT as well confirms the 75 mph.
Yeah, also wrong.
I asked.
Trust me, I know. They had a baseball player that was white as a black man.
Wrong about everything.
Rockaroo?
75 on a racetrack looks
Jewish.
really, really slow.
Really slow.
It's gonna look so slow
Yeah,
on a racetrack. So
true.
slow.
At certain tracks, there's a minimum speed that you have to maintain to be able to handle those banks without falling off.
When
to your
NASCAR
side.
when NASCAR came here for Homestead, they had like a media day thing that I went to, and like I drove a car, and then they give you like a printout of like your speed because they're taking things. And it did like 144.
Did it feel like 144?
No. When I watched back the video, I'm like, this looks like I'm driving through a school zone because of how big the track is and how like high the banks are. It doesn't seem like you're going very fast.
How does it feel?
It didn't. I mean, at no point did I think I was going to crash into the wall or anything.
It just felt like you had plenty of space.
Well, they have like a restrictor plate or something on that you can't go over a certain amount anyways, right? So they have it like toned down. So like the max I think you could go if you're really going like all out is like maybe 150. But even that, if you start going over close to it, they shut you down and you can't go any further.
What do you mean they shut you down? Like they
make you
wave a
come
red-
in. There's like a whole thing. Honestly, I
they're
saw that
talking
there was a switch on the side, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to notice this, but if I switch this thing,
Was it a red button?
up, no, it was like a switch.
Was it
Like
red?
one of those like it was like one of the switch exactly like a
Nas?
NAS switch. It wasn't like a light switch. It was
Nas
like,
is like-
a switch that has like a protective covering that you lift it up
wow.
and then you
Yeah,
switch
That's
it.
important.
That's the
Yeah,
switch.
it's
That's the
important.
switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the switch, man. It's got that clear plastic, right? And you open it up, and then you hit the button, and then the nukes fly.
That's what it went through my mind. What if this is the nuclear football here in this, old M&M's car at Homestead Miami Speedway? It turns out it wasn't.
Wild Billy Wednesday.
Per frankscarsinthehood.com that spent time finding out all of the metrics of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, the published top speed is 110 miles per hour.
Oh, I don't believe
That can't be right
Come
either.
on.
There's a lot here that can't be.
no,
It can't be
no.
75 and it can't be 110.
0 to
Can't be.
60 in 24 seconds,
That-
but the
that makes
published
sense.
top speed
That I believe.
is 110.
That's bullshit.
What was the website?
frankscarsinthehood.com.
Ain't
Now,
no
when
way
you say
that thing goes
when you
100.
say Frank's Cars, is it a guy named Frank who's into cars, or is this about cars that are shaped like?
I will
Franks?
find out right now because that's a really good question.
That's the only question. I mean, that's why you host the show.
And in the hood, are we talking about like what's under the hood? Or are
Yeah,
we talking
I
like
had the same
there's-
question.
in the hood.
Yeah.
My assumption, based off the front of the website and all of the classic cars here with the front lifted up, my assumption is we're talking about the hood of a car, and we're talking about all different cars, unfortunately not just cars shaped like Frank's.
Yeah, it's a dude named Frank.
It'd be weird if it was just like hot dog shaped cars in one neighborhood, because like it seems like not a website that would get a lot of traffic.
It also appears that you're followed by Oscar Mayer, not the Wienermobile itself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'm
want the Wienermobile.
I'm sorry that I'm followed by the brand that made sliced
Right.
deli meat a thing in
Well, I
America.
would follow an IG account dedicated to the Wienermobile, but there appears to not be one. It's just the Oscar Mayer Wiener IG handles all the promotional purposes for the Wienermobile.
There you go.
Wienermobiles, as we found out, there are more than one.
Yeah.
There's at least 6 that are going to be reaching top speeds at the Brickyard.
What if they all have their own social media accounts? Does that make it better or worse?
Do Goodyear blimps? Because there's many. Do
Well,
they have individual ones?
I don't know. How many blimps are there?
Not many. I think
There's
there's
many.
3, no?
No, there's more.
Really?
More than 3?
Yeah.
The look to me to confirm your report.
I mean, Billy just said there was a fleet of them. I mean,
Fleet Week.
Yep.
Fleetwood Mac.
I'll find out.
I think there's only 3.
There's currently 4 Goodyear blimps in the world.
There you go. Told you. I said 3.
Where are they stationed?
One is based in Germany.
What?
Yeah.
You would think that they would get over the
A
blimps.
blimp, right? They're like,
Yeah.
no, not for us. No, please.
So Greg is
No,
Greg
thank
is
you.
partially right. There's 3 in the U.S.
There you go.
There it
Ohio,
is.
Florida, California, and then there's the one in Germany.
I saw the one in California. I drove past it. It was on the ground. It was weird, dude.
I wonder if the
crazy to see
folks.
'em on the ground.
A grounded blimp.
Yeah.
Not a cool thing.
The
to
one
look
in
at.
Florida is grounded in Pompano Beach.
Yeah?
In Broward County. Yeah, I've driven past it as well.
What'd it do?
Pompano Beach.
It's
home of
weird
Eddie
seeing a
Hill.
blimp on the
Eddie-
ground. You're right.
Right. Out of its element.
Unnatural.
Unnatural is a great way to put it.
You know, Greg, we didn't spend enough time with you yesterday asking about this. We skipped right by it because of all of your different modern slang. But
Sure.
you were talking about the Delray Garlic Festival, and
Yeah.
I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I love it. I mean, I've only been twice, but we go.
What is it? What is it like? What do you get at a garlic festival?
There's all kind of food trucks and restaurants and just garlic related dishes and I don't know.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound. I wish I went.
No, it's fantastic.
Huh.
And it's a fallacy, by the way, that garlic gives you terrible breath. I don't know where that came from.
Vampires.
Yeah, I mean,
Came from vampires.
exactly. The vampires.
Patino did it, huh?
Blah, you should not have garlic. Blah, your breath. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Bad breath. You'll never go on date.
You're killing me.
That's
Blah.
the stereotype. But I'm here to tell you, garlic is good for you. Mm-hmm. It's very helpful
Yes.
as a food, and it's a wonderful festival.
Do you think vampires make fun of our accents?
Yes.
Blah, this is how they talk. Like, hi guys, my name is John. Oh, blah.
Howdy, partner.
What's that all about? Blah.
I'd like some French fries and some Oscar Mayer Goodyear blimps.
And put some extra garlic on it. Blah. These guys, what else? What is?
Is that a white Rodney?
Blah. Maybe. I have to take umbrage with this show, by the way. You want to talk about things that happened yesterday? And Stugotz, I'm most disappointed in you.
I wasn't here yesterday.
He's got an alibi.
That's why I was disappointed in you. You weren't here to defend the honor of a motion picture called The Fan. Guys, The Fans, Roy wasn't here either. Disappointed in you too.
Foul.
Should have been. The Fan starring Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro. First
Yes.
of all, the thing that he says, he's not saying, let's go, Bobby. He says, "Out away, Bobby!" That's what he says. Get the quote right, number one. Number two, Dan was like, it's a movie about an umpire who stabs somebody. It's not about that at all. It's about a super fan who's so obsessed with this player, played by Wesley Snipes, that he goes as far as to murder his rival who plays on the same team, played by a young Benicio del Toro. It is an excellent movie, and it's a movie that's been reviewed on Cinephobe. What's Cinephobe, you ask? It's a podcast where Zach Harper and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain whether they're accurately rated or maybe didn't get a fair shake. It's Cinephobe. It's wherever you get podcasts, and it's produced by Anthony Mays. And we did The Fan, and we had a ball doing that movie.
Now, that was 38% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, it
why, as a cinema expert, why do you think it was not as well received by the public as it should have been?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, I think there is sports movies in general, if they don't follow kind of like a happy and then the scrappy team came up and they won it all.
Remember the Titans.
Yeah, if it's not that, most
Any given Sunday.
critics don't like it. They don't like those movies.
Rocky.
And the reason for that is because a lot of those critics don't know sports. So sports is kind of like, well, we have to watch this sports ball movie, and then they watch it, and then like, I don't get it. So they're always looking for that kind of Disney ending. The other thing I think is just ahead of its time. It's a little bit ahead of its time, talking about fans being obsessed with how much players make and like the effort and all that stuff, the stuff that is the fodder of modern day sports talk radio. Like back then, I think people were just like, did we win or lose? And that was about it.
I just think it's surprising that you could have a movie with Stingray Rob De Niro and not end up with a good review.
Oh, I mean, there's plenty of those. His career is
That's true.
literally-
He has so many movies that he's made that it's like there are as many terrible movies as good ones,
Yes.
right? If
More.
not, maybe more.
Way more. Way more.
Good
Because
batting average.
He's prolific. He's prolific. He's saying yes to everything. Killing Season. You ever seen that one?
But the good ones are some of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Taxi Driver.
But you know what's crazy, Stugotz? I begin to think like, is this a case where it's like we crowned them a little too early, and it's like, is this the real Robert De Niro that we've seen over the last 30 years or so? And like he just had a hot start to his career. You know, there's some of these guys that came out the bat 4 All-Star appearances in their first like 6 years, and then like had a 20-year career, and the rest of their career was nothing.
Well, surrounded by talent.
Surrounded by
Is he a
talent.
grifter off a good coach? That's Scorsese.
Silver Linings Playbook was late in his career.
Good movie. There you go.
Yeah.
But he had a supporting cast.
Yeah, like again, it's not
Oh,
him.
he was a part of the supporting cast.
It's not him. It's J-Law. It's Bradley Cooper. It's Dave Chappelle, right? Like those are the people. Same thing. Goodfellas. Well, it's not him. It's Pesci. It's Ray Liotta. It's Dr. Melfi from The Sopranos. Who's
Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah.
That was
It's Zac Efron. It's Zac
Yeah.
Efron.
I kind of like Dirty Grandpa.
Well, it's because Zac Efron. He's carrying it.
Always
Aubrey
loved Zac Efron.
Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. There you go. So like, when's the last movie that Robert De Niro carried?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The Irishman.
Yeah. But that's an ensemble, though.
No,
I understand
hold
it's
an
an
It
ensemble,
also
but he
was
was top name.
It wasn't good.
He was the title character.
It was.
Yeah.
It was long.
No, it was bad.
It was slow.
I didn't like it. No.
Ronan.
Ronan.
He did win an Emmy for playing Bernie Madoff in a HBO movie, The Wizard of Oz.
He did do a good job on that. I'll give him that.
2017 though, 8 years ago.
Because the voters were all scammed. They were
But
trying
also-
to get it back at Bernie.
But also, TV movie doesn't count.
That's right.
Sorry. Be theatrical if you want me to respect you. If
That's a bad take, dude.
be theatrical if you want me to.
Because television series have become basically cinematic.
Yes.
I'm talking about carrying the program, carrying the vehicle,
Okay.
right?
Omar Epps.
Like, where do you did you watch True Detective season 1 and you're like, wow,
did.
this is not at all impressive by Matthew McConaughey.
I enjoyed it, but it's not.
I am not at all impressed by this.
I enjoyed it, but it's not the same as being a movie star, man.
Be a
I know
movie.
they want to say to us, oh, it's the golden age of TV, and all that. But the reality is, if you're a movie star, man, it's still a different level.
No, I'm with you.
Like Chalamet is not doing that because he's making great TV shows. Chalamet is doing that shit because
Wasn't that part of the advice that he got?
don't make TV
Like,
shows.
don't make, yeah. Tom Cruise hasn't done it. Like, straight
There
up,
you go.
Tom Cruise is like, I'm a movie star.
Right.
I get TV offers all the time. I'm not doing it. I'm Tom Cruise.
And by the way, you were right. He did bring back movies.
He saved movies.
He saved movies.
Yes.
He saved movies.
Yes,
Top Gun
it's
saved
not
movies.
it's not a joke. It was on very fragile ground.
You're right.
The movie theater industry as a whole, it was already in a downward spiral, and then COVID happened. A lot of streamers, a lot of these studios they were beta testing. Do we just release everything on streaming services and that's it? Movies will become a boutique thing. The fact that a movie theater is going to be super accessible to you might be a bygone era. And Top Gun Maverick reinforced that there is still a place in this world, in middle America, in suburbia, for your neighborhood movie theater to get you out there.
Is it crazy for me to be like, you know what, Tom Cruise, you won me back over, man.
I'm ready to have this conversation.
Did he lose you?
Yeah, he lost a lot of
he
people.
lost a lot of
going
people.
clear, going clear, like really significantly hurt his brand.
But even before that, it was already like, this guy's a little unhinged when
Well,
he went
he
on
had the-
Oprah,
yeah.
jumping on the thing.
I mean, you look back, that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
and it
early
felt like a
2000s.
death nail.
Yeah, and it was like, it's a wrap for this guy. And like somehow he pulled himself out that wreckage and he's come back stronger than ever. And I'm like, you know what? This guy's a cool guy. I like you, Tom Cruise.
I like him a lot.
I like Tom Cruise.
And like, you talk to people that have talked to him, and he's super cool. He's super cool.
Takes
like,
care of
he's-
people.
Yes, he takes care of folks, gives them advice, gives them gifts. Like, he seems pretty awesome.
When they were filming the Dead Reckoning, they were like, hey, it was like the COVID restrictions. He was yelling at people for not like.
Yeah, be professional.
Yeah.
You got to be responsible.
Yeah, they're gonna shut
The
us
lives
down.
are at stake. We're trying to save movies here.
Always respectful, by the way. You seen the video where he gets water splashed on him by some prank asshole, and he's like, "Why would he doesn't even freak out? He's just like, why would you do that?"
He's honestly like the archetype for how you want a movie star to be. Outside of that one
The whole thing. Which, by the way, like, come on, who among us doesn't have like weird
we all have
beliefs?
kooky beliefs.
Come on, man.
We're all talking in a real high
What was
voice.
that
Just
thing?
say,
I remember, but what was that thing?
I don't eat from sun up to sundown for 30 days. That's kind of kooky to some people.
Some
you know?
people don't get
So,
that.
yeah,
I get it.
I get it.
I support you.
It's all kooky
Good point.
from
by
a certain
Mike.
point of view.
Eisner.
I could read that book and say, wow, this is awesome. Let's build a deity.
Did you see the video of him, Mike, walking into a theater, I think it was yesterday, and seeing a guy.
You know my algo?
Yeah, of course.
My algo is all Tom Cruise walking in movie theaters.
So he walks into this movie theater and he turns to a guy sitting in the front row and goes, "Oh man, you ate all your popcorn already." And all I could think was that would be your absolute worst nightmare of an interaction with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it would be awful. Well, because I just don't want anybody, including Tom Cruise, to talk to me in public. I'd shush him. I'm trying to watch The Final Reckoning here.
Trying to watch a movie here.
And also, I'm with celebrities. I'm like mad weird. I don't because I know. Yeah, well, because I'm weird to some in that I totally kind of leave them be.
Yeah, like you do that weird dance where it's like they probably get inundated. So I'm gonna do the thing to kind of like not push up on them too much, but then they get like weirded out by saying like, "Wait a second, why don't you want to talk to me?" I'm like, "Oh no, it's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just
I want them to respect." My favorite musician is Jack White. My friends opened up on tour for Jack White. They were
Greg, you a big Jack
they
White
did a
fan?
big like tour of the Southeast. I went to multiple shows. I was hanging out backstage. I'm literally right next to Jack White.
Yeah.
I said like 2 words to him the entire time.
Like, hi.
It was
And
like,
then,
hi.
Bye.
Yeah, kind of like. I didn't even have the opportunity to do the one thing which is like if I'm in a relaxed environment with someone that I admire, that has created art that I look up to, I'll say, "Hey man, just thank you for doing that. Thank you for creating that."
I thought you were gonna say the thing you would have said if you were in a relaxed environment. Boom, 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 boom,
Yeah. boom, boom, boom song. No, I just don't. I don't want to bother people.
Well, were you starstruck
with Jack?
Yeah,
I never get starstruck, and around Jack, I don't think I was, but he had a presence about him that I just like. I'm not even gonna bother this guy. And also, if you're familiar with like how he acts backstage before a show, it's very intense.
Oh, yeah. How does he act?
Jack White has like a crazy process.
Okay.
To get ready for shows.
Get me there.
So like the best experience that I had with it was in Atlanta because the venue had walls that didn't go all the way up to the ceiling. So I was with my friends, the Jacuzzi Boys. They were in the dressing room
Shout out
next
to
door.
Jacuzzi Boys.
Yeah, great local garage rock band.
Oh,
out of
I
Miami.
thought that was just a group of friends that you called the Jacuzzi.
No. It's a great band.
Group chat.
Yeah, because they like to hang out in jacuzzis and just like chop it up.
No. So they were opening up for the Rack on Tours, and
that's a
Jack.
band as well?
Jack has this thing where he has like at the time it was still like a dated iPod Shuffle.
Nice.
This was like 2019, and it was still like an ancient artifact. And he takes over the aux cord, and he's in control of the music, and it's all over the place. He's a very eclectic individual.
Kind of like you.
Yeah, like you'll hear gangster rap, then you'll hear death metal, then you hear
Kinda like you.
old-timey blues. Yeah, you'll hear it all. He'll run the gamut. But also he has stages of instruments set up like in his dressing room because he can play everything. So he'll be pounding away. Their dressing room had a piano,
Yep.
so he was pounding away at the grand piano.
Yep.
Then he'll pick up the drums and he'll start banging on the drums. And the entire time, the craziest part about it, because it's like you can feel the energy. You can feel him on the other side of the wall like circling all these things. Is he's getting his voice ready, and he screeches a lot. So he is screeching. I'm telling you, like it's the entire time. He's
How long?
It's wild. Like you're there having a conversation. You're having beers with your friends. You're making your time a Miller time, and you're just supposed to ignore Jack White screeching at the top of his lungs for 90 consecutive minutes.
We have to follow Billy's face here
Yeah.
because he
You
is
don't
doubting
have to.
every single word that you're saying.
No,
He's
just
right.
faux eccentric is what it sounds like to me. Like, let me just act wild so
Performative.
people think, oh, I need to work. Jack White's voice. And just go out there, play Seven Nation Army. Let's call it a day. Like, he doesn't have this great voice, right? Does he have a great voice that you need to spend an hour working on your voice?
I mean, you want him to deliver on the screeches, no doubt, but he's not known for his voice. He's known for his guitar playing, and the Raconteurs aren't going to play Seven Nation Army. That's a White Stripes song.
Run around like a crazy person. Listen to me.
So wait, it's a
If
rack
I'm-
that's
if-
on tour?
Hold on a second. If I'm paying money to see Jack White perform at a thing, I don't care if it's Jack White and the Stingray Bobs or whatever it's called.
Rob.
You're playing Seven Nation Army, and that's that.
He did not.
You,
on
he
this
did
tour.
not.
No,
It's
terrible.
What the hell are you going to say? So what do I get? Jack White and some other band, and then some Jacuzzi Boys. What am I paying money for?
So you
here?
get to, if you see Jack White, you pay a ticket to see Jack White on tour, you're 100% getting Seven Nation Army, even though that's a White Stripes song.
He's on stage, Seven Nation Army.
So, but
the
if
White Stripes aren't around, so
But you're
he's
saying-
not going to play that with
Yeah,
them.
but if he's on stage, what Billy is saying, with any group of people, he has to sing that song.
Thank you.
Wait,
Figure
hold on.
that shit out with Meg
Hold on,
White already. Enough of this.
So if
Her anxiety?
If the White Stripes are on tour, I might get it. If Jack White is on tour, I might get it. But if the Rack is on tour, I won't get it.
The Rack on tour is, it's not.
Multiple
What do they
tours.
sing?
It's not the band's not called the Rack. that goes on tour. They're the Rack on Tour.
It's a good nickname.
Tours.
The Rack.
Yeah, Brendan Benson is the melodic genius of that band, by the way.
Well, your friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Wait,
an impartial
Brendan Benson's
comment.
dad.
An impartial
What's
comment.
up?
He's friends with Brendan Benson's dad. That's
For
how.
real?
There's a great photo. I'll send it to the video department of Greg Cody with Jack White at a White Stripes show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
And the plug there was Brendan Benson's dad.
Right.
So he's in the Rack. Brendan.
The Rack on
Benson.
Tours, yeah.
Got it.
They're on tour.
The Rack is on tour.
Well, they don't. The Rack on Tours don't tour anymore.
The Rack is
Or at
back.
least
So
not
the Rack
as
and
of
Tour,
now.
if it's called the Rack and Tours
They're just
and
the
they're on
Rackin'?
tour,
Yeah.
would it be the Rack and Tours on tours?
Well, did they break up? Or they're not touring anymore?
Well,
what are they doing?
The Rack on Tours are temporarily broken up because Jack White demands such a bare share
Classic.
of the overall revenue that the other three guys, including Brenson, are
This
all
is
but left
journalism.
and you won't
Rock and
even play
roll.
the songs that we want to hear.
Rock and roll, man.
So what's Brendan up to?
He's he's an independent artist. He's put out 5 or 6 solo albums.
Hard times, though.
Well,
It's
no,
kind of
but
plug
to
and play, right?
To
That's
answer your
great
question,
music.
I didn't really get starstruck around him.
Okay.
No,
I just
it-
respected his presence.
Hey, it sounds like
was
you runs
curious
around
because
banging
it
on
almost,
instruments.
It almost sounded like you did, and I know that would be uncharacteristic of you.
Yeah, I don't really do that, but he's got a presence to him, and yeah, you want to say it's faux eccentricities, like it probably, like I don't know, it's put on, but
Were you nervous? It seems like you were nervous.
I was
Like-
nervous to talk to him because he's got a very intense process to ramp up. It's like I don't want to talk to him beforehand, and
Right.
afterwards, it's such an intense thing that he does on stage that he's kind of like winding down. I don't want to bother this guy.
Right. He's also taller than I expected him to be.
Really?
Yeah, he's tall.
What if he's just making noise because no one's like talking to him? Everyone thinks like, oh, we got to leave Jack alone. He's like, I just want attention here. So he starts banging on shit, like hoping to get attention. Like, don't look at Jack. Don't look at his process. He's like, no, what do I have to do for people to talk to me?
Robert De Niro has 2 different Grandpa movies?
Yeah.
The War with Grandpa and Dirty Grandpa, and that's not a franchise. There's just 2
Dirty
movies.
Grandpa.
Where he's a grandpa.
Billy, are you saying it's a cry for help?
Possibly. Maybe.
I mean, Stephen Colbert did this thing with Jack White in Nashville, where he's like, you're kind of like a Batman villain in that you create like these HQs, and everyone that you hire dresses like you and tries to act like you.
Do they?
Yeah, no, his Third Man record label, it kind of feels cultish.
Wow, hold on. How old is this picture?
It's very old. I still have hair.
I mean, Jack's in the White Stripes, so
That's when he was
it's that
G.
old.
That's, G. That's who calls him G.
That's got to be 20 years old.
Do you still own that shirt? Is that shirt still in the closet?
No,
somewhere?
that has been retired, that shirt. As has Jack's, I would imagine. Maybe not.
He doesn't wear red anymore. That's exclusively
There
the
you
White
go.
Stripes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every act that he has every act that he has a dedicated color scheme to it.
What if he goes to a
Stripes are-
Cardinals game?
Or a Bulls game?
No, like casually, I don't know. But when he's on stage with the White Stripes, it's red and white, and black is part of that color scheme. When you watch Jack White, the solo artist, it's black, white, and blue.
What about
when you
the
watch
Rack?
the Rack on tours, green and black.
Only on tour.
Yeah, or if you watch the Dead Weather, sometimes they lean into yellow.
That you know what? I'm with Billy. This guy seems like a real like.
Sometimes they lean into yellow.
Performative.
They don't really
man.
have they haven't performed in quite a while. Also, it's
They're
like
not on tour.
I like the Dead Weather, but I want to watch Jack play the guitar. And
Sounds
he
like
just
this
plays
guy
the
can't
drums
keep
and
a job.
For
You know what I
real.
mean?
That's-
He keeps
yeah.
bouncing from band to band.
yeah,
like,
no, that's
geez
what that
Louise.
sounds like.
But Greg just told us why, because apparently he's a little greedy when it comes to like how this thing gets split up. So guys get tired of him, they kick him out of the band. He goes starts a new band.
Just burning bridges left and right.
Left
it
and
sounds
right.
like.
It's all plug and play anyway.
I'm not coming back next
7
Wednesday.
band army, it sounds like, for Jack White.
Next Wednesday, I am off. I'm just letting that be known.
Why? We're just talking.
We're just
Talking
chopping it
Puck,
up.
talking Yandel,
Jacuzzi boys out here, man.
Blimps, Wieners.
chilling.
You know, just some jacuzzi boys here enjoying a Wednesday.
Yeah, Wild Billy Wednesday.
Nah, it's just Wednesday.
Okay. There was a time when it was Wild Willy Wednesday.
Wild Willy Wednesday.
There, good timing.
It's like D. Reynolds.
Dan messed up and then didn't want to let it go for a couple weeks.
That was just
He
him.
just made a
Yeah.
mistake.
Yes, he made a mistake.
I love that. I love that about
And then
him.
there was imaging.
I love the commitment to the bit where like he'll mess something up and then he'll just try to convince us he didn't mess up at all. He meant to do that. And then he'll stick with it for days on end.
Huge news.
What's that?
Been doing some research.
Uh-huh.
Our partners at DraftKings have a free-to-play contest on the Oscar Mayer Weenie 500.
Hey, there we go.
Wow. Who's the favorite?
Get
Which
in on this
wiener?
action.
I'm getting to it.
John.
Okay. It was Cape Fear, by the way.
Nick Nolte.
He was good in that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He's always carried by a supporting cast, man.
Does he still act?
Nick Nolte?
Nick Nolte?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
He'll
in,
say yes to a job.
Well, I mean,
whoa.
He was in. He was in
Tropic Thunder, but that was some time ago.
No. He was in one of those non-Marvel Spider-Man movies recently.
And one of the Sonys?
Yeah, not Craven. What was it, man?
He was in Hulk as well.
Oh, you know what he was? He was in
Craven
Angel,
a job.
Angel Has Fallen, which is 5 years ago.
I confuse him and Gary Busey.
all the time.
Because the hair, it's that mugshot.
And Chris Tofferson.
No,
they look the same.
You're just doing old white guys.
Old white guys.
R.I.P.
Willie Nelson as well.
R.I.P. George Wendt, by the way.
I know. Norm.
Where'd he go?
Well, R.I.P. 's dead.
Too soon?
Yeah, way too soon. Not even 24 hours. Body's still cold.
Awkward.
So warm.
Yeah, Chris Christoph on that one.